Today we are going to talk about our mental health.
Oh, how happy you have made me.
Oh, how happy.
You have made me. I'm happy, yeah.
So I guess that was the spoiler alert. I don't think that when folks think about moving abroad, I don't think that we think about how this is going to affect our mental health, because the fact of the matter is that moving, period, can be traumatic.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
United States is physically a big country, and even moving state to state can be traumatic. You move away from loved ones, you move away from your family, from your friends, maybe for a job or something else. And it can be traumatic. A year from now, I would love to look back at the videos that we did when we first moved here and see if we can see trauma on our face, because it's traumatic. It's a big move.
It truly is a big move, but it's worth it.
However, yeah,
It's worth it.
why you say that?
Because you can breathe.
Okay.
You can wake up and feel good about your environment, the people around you.
All right.
It's just all the stress just melts away.
He's giving it all away, y'all.
I'm sorry.
We're going to talk about this. We are going to talk about this with some good friends of ours. But first, hey, y'all. My name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, travel, and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth, right? So who are our special guests today?
We got special guests, our fam in Mexico, Queretaro, Mexico.
Yes.
Lamar and Angela.
That's right. If you have not checked out their YouTube channel, why not?
Yeah. What you waiting for?
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. You don't have to be interested in moving to that specific place necessarily. All y'all who are watching this are not interested in Portugal, right? But if you want information about Black folks moving abroad, how you do it, how you acclimate, et cetera,
getting out, what it's like.
Yes.
They are boots on the ground. Yes. They can tell you.
Yes. Absolutely. But first, if you are new to our channel, then you might not know that about 7.5, 8 years ago, Rick and I got a wake-up call. And this is what happens in America, because you get caught up in the Black excellence. You get caught up in keeping up with the Joneses. And Lord knows we were caught up. We looked at our finances and they looked crazy. But about 3.5, 4 years ago, we got our financial act together and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth. If we can do that, you can do it too. Seriously, yes, folks.
So truly can.
Right? So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button. Go on.
We'll wait.
We know that.
We'll wait.
Right. Because 49% of you who watch our videos are not subscribed. If not, why not?
Subscribe. You're missing different things. Subscribe.
Exactly.
So you can know what's going on.
Exactly. Hit that notification bell so that you know every single time we drop a new video or go live. And hit that like button if you like this content. So without further ado, hey, Angela and Lamar.
Hey, what's going on?
How happy you have made me.
Yeah.
Oh, how happy you have made me. So yes, it's not just, but we're going to talk about that too. We're not going to talk about that too, because folks move single. However, it's not just about having a spouse or someone in your house. It's a lot deeper than that. So I have pulled up a list of things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the home environment. We're going to talk about our environment, our social environment. And then maybe if we have time, we'll get to the workspace in schools. Because why? Look, we trying to get you to retire ASAP. Get that, start your own business, get that side hustle. Yeah. This is 2023. And for those of us who are of a certain age, there are so many more opportunities out there to make money.
Yeah.
Right? And so going back to the traditional 9 to 5 corporate job does not necessarily have to be your fate. And also, for those of you who went to the Move to Portugal Summit, y'all heard from Libria Jones and talking about all of the opportunities available. So if you didn't go to the Move to Portugal Summit and you are interested in Portugal, you can purchase the replays. That information is down below. But let's go ahead and get started. So where y'all live? Introduce yourselves.
So I'm Lamar.
I'm Angela, and we hail from lovely Queretaro, Mexico.
Yeah.
Where the hell is Queretaro? Okay. That's usually the question.
Yeah.
Queretaro is 3 hours north of Mexico City, in the
Correct.
heart of Mexico, deep, deep, deep in the heart of Mexico, where we absolutely love it.
But high up in Mexico, because we're well above
Sea level, about 5,000 square feet, or square meters, or what have you, above
above sea level. So it's very cool here.
Eternal spring.
Yes. As a matter of fact, there's a breeze blowing through here right now. And it feels absolutely fantastic.
Feeling good.
Nice bright blue skies. The area is just absolutely fantastic. We actually they just built a brand new La Comer.
Yes.
Supermarket is right up the street.
Yes.
We don't have to. It's fantastic. I mean, it is absolutely fabulous. I mean, they have everything under the sun in there, including appliances and little motors and motorcycles.
Love it.
It's it's huge,
humongous, and I'm here for all of it.
Yes.
The Queretaro is it gives you everything what we need. We wanted a city that was modern, but yet colonial and quaint.
Right.
So it gives you that, colonial kind of vibe, the kind of vibe that you would expect when you come to Mexico. But at the same time, we have all the modern amenities. We have all the modern luxuries. So we love it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've been here, a year and a half, going on 2?
Year and a half. Yeah. Yeah,
going on 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 years residency,
temporary residence. Came here with our 2 dogs and 3 kids.
Yep. Came here for my hobby, with my hobby stuff.
Yep. So, and that's true, because we have a half a container. We shipped our things from the States. We downsized and took our belongings that we loved the most and came here, starting anew.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of the things that is important to note, is your journey is your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And we have 2 very different journeys. And so here's a situation where we've got a family from America who brought a lot of their hobbies and things with them. They're living in the suburbs of Querétaro in this big, beautiful, magnificent home. And then there's us. Who downsized down to a 3-bedroom apartment that's probably the size of our first floor of our home, right? But we don't have our kids with us. We don't have our pets with us or anything else. And so there's no correct way to do this. The correct way is to do it the way that makes you the most happy.
For you.
It works for you.
Yes.
Now, for us, we knew that coming to Querétaro was going to be just literally picking up our home base and putting our home base down in this new area. We knew that this is, if you're about that bopping lifestyle, taking your stuff with you is probably not a good idea.
Right.
But we knew that that's not our ministry.
Yeah.
And so for us, we were ready to start our new life all over again. Hey, Professor LCH, I see what you're asking about the temperatures being cool. Temperatures usually in Querétaro range from the low, I guess it can get as cold as like in the 40s.
A couple of times last winter in January, it did get into the upper 30s.
And that was, everybody here was like, what? Good God.
You go to the Costco and every basket had at least 12
blankets, and they were like, Jesus. But
knowing that it's only going to last 2-3 days at the most.
And then during the day, it may get up to in the upper 80s, 70s, lower 80s. And that's usually the range.
0 humidity, which is
The humidity
very
is very
comfortable.
low, very low.
Oh.
So,
And that's one of the things about being upper in elevation, right? Not only is there less humidity, but there's less bugs, y'all.
I agree with you. Let's bugs.
As folks from Denver, and we were 5,280 feet in the air, less bugs. And I'm not a bug person. Let's say hello to some folks who are in the chat. Hey, Cassandra, good to see you. Marguerite,
how you doing, darling?
You missed Sangria night, Marguerite.
Yes, you did.
What? Let me tell you, Friday Sangria night here
Lord.
it was out of control.
What time we get home?
I ain't even mad.
We got home at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we was saying.
But that's y'all business. That's y'all business.
Hey, Holly, good to see you.
Yeah.
Like living our second childhood is out of control. We finally met Karen Louise face to face.
Yes.
Karen has been following us since we had like 200-300 subscribers, y'all.
Nice.
Right?
And we finally got to meet her on at the summit.
At the summit. Yes. I didn't know you were in LA. I'm sorry, baby. Hopefully you will not be there the next time I have to go to LA. Hopefully you will be where you're going to be. But if you are, we will definitely connect. Hey, Dee, good to see you in the chat. We've got Pinky. We've got, wait. The ABX girl. Sounds like a new name.
Hey, ABX girl.
Welcome.
I've seen that before.
Have you seen it?
Yes,
okay. I'm just being forgetful. So forgive me if I've said that before, because look, y'all, I'm about to be 60. You're gonna have to show me some grace.
Hey.
Show me some grace. Hey, Vicky, good to see you. The chocolate stew.
I like that.
Life of Flight. I like that. From Orlando, Florida. Welcome. Yes. Hey, Greta. Good to see you. Just saw you day before just yesterday. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey, Marilyn. Hey.
Right. So we have some of the same subscribers as y'all can see.
Okay.
Hey, Jeanette.
Hey, y'all.
Action VJ.
Did y'all hit the like button as you came in?
You heard her.
It's a him, actually.
This is my brother from another mother.
Yes. But okay, I'm just gonna be honest, and he has shown me grace because he follows so many of the folks that you and I follow, Angela.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Action VJ was female. Oh. And then he liked one of our things on Instagram, and I saw a picture and I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
But he's all that. He is right.
Amazing.
He is an amazing man. Sheila, good to see you. Marguerite, and then we've got Tanya. Killer Queen is in the house. Hey, Professor, good to see you. Valerina, Igami, BP, Venus. Yay! I'm glad you're back. Auntie Trey.
Hey, Auntie Trey.
Phyllis is on her way to Ecuador. Oh, was I not supposed to say that? I think you've told everybody. She's on her way to Ecuador.
She's on her way out of there.
Yes. I am starring the questions. Hey, Agent Grateful. Good to see you 2 days in a row.
Good to see you again.
Yes. We've got Helen's in the house and Vicky G. Okay. You definitely look much more relaxed and content. I've only been following the channel for 14 months, and I see a world of change. Thank you. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, Vicky's one of the OGs. Yeah. She is one of the OGs, and that's interesting because sometimes we can't see ourselves.
Right.
So I am definitely I avoid looking at the content except to make sure that I am being not critical, but at least trying to get better.
Right. Now, we documented on our channel, Lamar and Angela, we documented our move. We documented the process of downsizing and getting rid of our stuff, the emotional, mental. I had a whole, listen, no judgment, y'all. No judgment.
Right.
But I posted that video of my whole entire breakdown. So when we talk about mental health and the moving process and
Right.
what that whole thing is like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so when I look back at those videos, whew, it's a little
And-
traumatizing to
Right?
because you can see it. You can see it.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
for sure.
good God.
And you really can. And I recorded during that time too, and I have not been brave enough to release any of those videos. So kudos to you. Kudos to you, because I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
I look toe up from the flow up.
You ain't never lie. I look a hot mess. But I wanted to share that as a part of our journey because, first of all, it was real. It was real. And it's tough. And really, that mental health piece is a huge factor that you really have to take into consideration when you're making a move abroad or just a move of any kind of magnitude. You
Yeah.
really got to take that into, and there's some pieces of the puzzle that sometimes people don't think about. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 pounds of stress have left me since being here.
like that.
15 pounds, probably 20 now, because I was about 235, 240. I'm about 225 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's huge. I mean,
And
it's a lifestyle change that it's amazing. At the same time, it's surreal.
yeah.
I can't believe that every time I look at it and go, so I don't live in the United States anymore. I live in Mexico. I would have never thought that I would be living somewhere else outside of the DMV,
Yeah.
outside of the Maryland, Washington, D.C.
Oh, not outside of the United States, but outside of the Washington,
the
D.C.
I thought that I
metro
would be
area.
in there.
Of the DMV.
I thought that I would always be there, but after the 4 years of hell from the Orange Cheeto Man, every day of his stuff going on, it was nerve-wracking. And then having to deal with the unfortunate things that have happened, as we'll talk about later on, with regard to the American dream is a hoax, as far as I'm concerned. With regard to purchasing a house and things like that, most people don't stay in their houses more than 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
The housing price inflated the way that they are. It's just crazy. So, and then, going back and forth to work every day was, get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, get up, go to, and it was just that vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And I was burnt.
Yeah. We both had really high stress jobs.
Right.
Lamar worked for the National
Defense
Information
Defense Information Systems Agency.
Them folks over at the NSA at Fort Meade. That's
not NSA.
Yes,
NSA
right
is on the other side.
Oh my God.
I don't even want to be bothered with them folks.
Oh my God.
I don't even want that.
High stress.
Yes,
job.
high stress job.
Yeah.
And just doing that every day.
My job in terms of being the co-chair of the Maryland Poor People's Campaign, lobbying on Capitol Hill, being up in Congress, fighting for our rights, that it takes a toll, especially when the corruption, you see what's going on, and you see how they're lying to people, Republicans, and that they know that they're lying, but they're doing it anyway to profit. It just, after a while, it begins to take its toll. So
So with that, let's talk about the work influence on mental health, since that's where y'all went. And most of the people watching, if you're new, you may not know, I worked in politics too. And I'll just put it out there. I worked for the Colorado Democratic Party, and most people do not know the structure of politics. That's a mistake.
Very.
Yeah.
Right? Because every state has a Democratic Party and a Republican Party, and they get some of their money from Washington, D.C. So that means they're beholden to Washington, D.C. And as much as you think you have local influence, and we fought for it tooth and nail, who gonna pay my rent? Who gonna pay my salary?
Right.
Those grassroots people giving $5 a month,
Yeah.
or the DNC writing $10 and $15 and $20,000 checks per month,
Yeah.
right? And that's how the system works. And then you add on to that the majority of the folks helping you are volunteers,
Yeah.
which,
yeah.
right? And volunteers have jobs. So then when do you work with the volunteers? Oh, after hours.
Right. Ciao. I'm having flashbacks. Ooh.
Right. So you get to work at 8:30, 9 o'clock, you get off at 5, 6, 6:30, and then you got to go to the community meeting to meet with all the volunteers who go after work. Right. And even during COVID, that means our Zoom virtual community meetings were after hours, hence putting in 70 hours a week. And so some of the work influences, so the statistics and information that I'm going to be spouting comes from Very Well Mind, which is a mental wellness periodical. The work influences that eat at our mental wellness, having a high demand job.
Mm-hmm.
And a high demand job does not mean high wages.
Right.
No, not at all.
High stress, right? High stress, specific role. Yeah, usually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Experiencing workplace bullying. Now, I never had to deal with that.
Ciao.
Oh yeah.
I did.
Oh, I've had managers.
Girl.
I had managers.
Let's talk about that.
So at my first manager after when I got to DISA was a bully, and very much so. She would do things that were. She would walk up to someone and point at them and say, "Come with me." Not tell her, and she would say it in a way that was you in trouble. And then she would take you to a conference room and sit down and talk to you. And when people get back, I'd ask, what's going on? I always knew they were like, she wanted to talk to me about X, Y, and Z, about this particular application, blah, blah, blah. But were you in trouble? But she would do things like that. And the worst of it that happened with me was that one time Angela and I had an appointment, and I went to a satellite office, which they begged us to go to all the time because they were paying money for it. And so I was totally available via email, messenger, phone, all that. I get back to the office the next day, and she walks up to me, and I get in early, 6:30. She walks up to me, looks around to see if anybody was in any other cubicle, but she didn't know that there were other guys that were 2 rows over. And she says to me, "Where were you yesterday?" I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Who are you talking to? And she goes, "You need to tell me where you're going to be." I said, "I was over at the office where they've been begging us to go." "You didn't tell me." I said, "They didn't tell us we had to tell you." And she said, "Next time." I said, "Well,
y'all
stop.
ain't talking on the top? Y'all ain't talking?
You're right." I said, "Time out." I stood up. I said, "You don't talk to me like that."
Lamar came home and told me, I said, "Man, listen, let me tell you something."
She had to take her earring.
Vaseline.
Right. I was hot, and we were getting ready to go on a vacation. I pulled one of the deputy PMs, and I said, "Look at here. Y'all better get her, or I'm gonna throw out one of these triple-plated windows that they have in this building."
Somebody better get her.
Y'all better get her.
Because I'm gonna be waiting after.
I don't
after
care
work.
if she's a woman. I'm going to mess her up because I'm not the one.
I don't even get to talk to him like that. So what? You girl.
So workplace bullying usually comes from the top.
Yeah.
And I told some guys in the previous company, they had a workshop, and I told them straight up, I said, "Y'all need to leave folk alone. If you're not paying them enough, or if they're coming in doing what they're supposed to, they come in at 8:30 and leave at 4:30. That's their time. Y'all sitting there picking on them. And when Tommy gets fed up, and y'all walk out into the parking garage and you find the boss laid out, George laid out, either knocked out or dead." And you wondering why, because he been messing with Tommy all this time, and he's pissed off. "You messing with me. I'm just doing my job."
But then there's a lot of also other types of workplace stresses within.
Right.
And today now the expectation is that you get paid for 40 hours, but the
Expectation
expectation is that you actually do more than 40 hours work. So I'm going to come in and work my 9 to 5, and then but also make myself available to work after hours, on the weekends, during my vacation, take off during my child's recital, be available on the phone. It's ridiculous. I can't even travel to my travel destination of, going to a meeting, and then you see everyone on their laptop. I'm sorry.
Because the PM on that said, and actually on a call, I don't understand why these people are just putting 40 hours on their timesheet.
Are we getting paid for more?
Are we getting paid for more? Because
no.
If I'm not getting paid for more than that, if I'm putting in 50 hours, okay, where's my 50 and where's my 60? But that question was asked, and it's like, I'm not doing any more. You gonna pay me for it?
And it's kind of expected and it's kind of expected, especially in corporate America, that you do above and beyond in order to achieve or to get to that next level of promotion, or to get a decent performance evaluation. Oh, you come in and only do your work? Ew,
right?
That's what you're paying me to do, ain't it?
Not only do your work, but do your coworkers' work, and then do such a fantastic job and expect no appreciation, no recognition, no financial
whatsoever.
It's crazy,
right?
And if you're Black, you already know, unless you're working a government job where all A1s get paid this, all B2s get paid that, et cetera, right? They've got it all written out. You're underpaid.
Sure.
I do not know a Black person who is getting paid what his white counterparts are getting paid.
No.
Right.
And then, of course, they try to forbid you from talking about it.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Right.
So, Rick, have you ever dealt with bullying?
No, because I was just the type, one story I had on my boss, you know who I'm talking about, the woman. And she came in, we were in a big meeting, and then my big boss, Tom, was there, and she's like, okay, we need to blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because she's ex-military. I said, we ain't in the military. Right. And all my big boss would do was laugh, because he's like, she didn't mess with the wrong person. Because he's going to say what's on his mind. Because I talked to my big boss. It's like, dude, you just a man. You put your pants on one leg at a time like me. So let's be real.
Right.
I came in here not having a job. I can leave and find another job. It's no big deal. But, no, I'm just not that person.
And if you don't have your financial act together, then you feel obligated to put up with that stuff, right? And so for those of you who have been watching
industries where if your job availability is, or the abundance of jobs is scarce, and that you feel like you're pigeonholed or stuck in there, your health care, but this job has good health care and I need to take care of my family.
Right.
That type of thing. You're stuck. So, and they know sometimes that they know you're stuck and you can't go anywhere. So
it's kind of like
against you.
Exactly. It's kind of like they do and say stuff to make sure that you're stuck. So I used to work in the entertainment industry. The door is this small to get in, and the folks trying to get in is this wide, and they trying to get through this narrow door, right? And so for those of you who've been watching for a while, y'all know I had a boss who told me, Halisi, slave days aren't over. I want you bald and chained to your desk.
Ooh.
So thank you, Care 007. Been watching y'all for a minute. I'm so grateful for your message. I appreciate you, and we'll follow Lamar and Angela.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. For those of you who do not know, all of our super chat, super thanks, and super sticker money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence. If you would like to take that course, the information is below. So thank you so much. And the community thanks you as well. Bald and chained to your desk. Slave days are not over.
Yeah. I mean, I always did it respectfully. I wasn't going to go postal on anybody, but
because we Black, that's not what we do. No. But so I'm going to read a couple more of these, and then we can talk about them. So work influences that lead to mental wellness issues, an imbalance of effort versus reward. We were just talking
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
Low relational and procedural justice. We were just
Right.
talking about that. Low
Right.
social support in the workplace. Well, we all know slave days aren't over. There you go. Like
Yeah.
there's no emotional support, not feeling valued or respected. Like, and here's the thing, especially when you get past the age of like 47, 48, and sometimes have bosses that are younger than you.
Come on.
And
come
like
on.
my mama told me that we're supposed to respect our elders regardless of their financial economic class.
Mhm.
Right.
You respect your elders. I don't care
Right.
who you are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And these
But-
jobs ain't loyal. Just like our friend Stephanie Perry says, these jobs ain't loyal. They will. I have had
Mhm.
jobs literally ask me to hire, and then train someone who is my replacement just because they will, fresh out of college, they'll accept half the salary
Exactly.
that I would be qualified to be paid because of my knowledge, my experience, my all of that kind of thing.
Right?
Where did you get that at? I mean, there's a certain kind of disrespect.
Yeah.
Disrespect for
That whole thing with I told you when I got laid off from the previous company, and the guy walked up to me and he says, "You've been here a long time, haven't you?" Yeah. He says, "Oh, you got a target on your back.
right.
Your compensation package is high, and you got a target. They're going to let you go." And in that time frame, I was set up in a your performance appraisal,
Right,
where
right.
the manager actually told the guy writing mine to go out and look for anything negative that you can find about Lamar.
We need to take this guy down a peg or find something so that we
What
can.
they were doing, here's the trick though. What they were doing was they were laying the foundation for not just me, but for others that work for that company.
People who've been there for
25
25 years.
Laying the foundation so that when they go to terminate them or saying we're getting, as they call it, give you a lack of work letter, that they have the ammunition, but they didn't even use that information when they came, because they couldn't, because my performance is always up here, as you
Of
know.
course.
With
Of
us,
course.
with African Americans, we have to do 2, 3, 4, 5 times better than our white counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
But they do that kind of stuff and they threaten you and make you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my, and the anxiety goes up.
Right.
You're scared. You're.
I know so many people who on Sunday night are crying in their bed because I got to get up and go to work.
I gotta go to work.
Right.
You know,
And if you're not
that
crying, then
dread
they're just
comes over you, that sense of dread that, oh my God. I remember being on the Beltway, heading to work on a Monday morning with tears rolling down my eyes like, Lord Jesus.
And I hate to stay on this thing of, you talked about bullying, but it's workplace harassment.
Yeah.
I had the same manager that did that with the appraisal. Also, I could do all my work sitting at my desk at home, but he made it so that I would have to drive from Northern Maryland
Yeah.
all the way out to Northern Virginia, which was like 90 miles
3 hours one way.
for a meeting on Tuesdays that lasted every bit of 10 minutes.
Mm.
And so,
And if you don't do that,
right.
you will lose your job.
And
Or if you
then
don't
this
do
is
that,
how this guy was. Me and another colleague were doing the same thing. Came in and gave our expense report because that wasn't our home office. Our home office was at another office that was in Northern Maryland. I just could work from home. And we gave him the expense report. He said, "I'll do it this time, but I'm not going to do it again." And I was like, "Well, this isn't our home office, so this is the mileage that we have to account for and also pay wear and tear on our car." He said, "Tell you what, Lamar," he said, "Tell you what, I'll make this your home office, and therefore you have to report here every day." I looked at this guy, and I'll call his name Adam, because that's actually his name. I looked at him and said, "That's okay, Adam." And I walked away. And both me and my colleague walked away. And my colleague, who is also a Christian like me, says, "Man, He said, I was going to take and choke him half to death for that. Because this kind of bullying, threatening, and he actually fired this guy, the colleague of mine, all for the reason of making room for a white manager that he did not have room in a hiring rec to do. So he fires this guy who was doing a fantastic job in order to make room for another guy. When I told Floyd this, he says, I'm not surprised. He said, I've had this happen to me before.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure, I mean, those kind of
It's
shenanigans
stressful.
are
Ooh.
stressful, and they take a toll on your
mental health.
Just knowing that at any moment
Yes.
you lose your job and oh my God, I've got a mortgage and I've got kids and I've got a car note and
One more.
Uh-huh.
When after that assessment situation, and I passed through they could put me on a PIP, which is performance improvement plan.
Oh yeah, I've been on a lot of those.
Because when you talk crap,
I've been on those a lot.
So after I completed the task, he tried to say, well, certain part of it didn't work. I said, that wasn't the task. The task was to do X, Y, and Z. You were trying to add H, K, and J.
Add all kinds of other stuff on
So
it.
The HR person that was on the telephone said, well, did he complete the thing as written in the task? He goes, yeah. Okay, well, he's good to go. We walk out the office. I thought it was done. Adam walks up behind me and says, hey, Lamar, can I talk to you for a second? I said, yeah, what's up, Adam? He goes, you got me on that one. He says, but all I have to do is go and tell HR today that you are a screw up and you'll be out here tomorrow.
Yeah. See,
I had to walk away because I was going, okay, I'm going to catch a case right here in the hallway, and I don't want to do that. So I said, have a nice day, Adam. And I walked away because I had more to lose by killing this white man in the hallways of the office than I can speak. I don't want to lose my wife. I don't want to lose my freedom, none of that, because I was going to break his neck.
Yeah. And so
and then they wonder why folks are showing up at the workplace, because it's not just Black folks that get this bullying. I mean, I think in general, we probably get it a bit more.
Right.
But it's not just us.
Right.
It's not just us, right? Like, and then they wonder why folks show up at people's jobs shooting up everybody.
Exactly.
And that is America. There's just no respect for humanity.
Yeah.
There's no respect.
Right.
And so here's the thing. What is the solution to workplace bullying? Is the ability to be able to say, Adam, let's let yesterday be my last day.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Right.
Peace out.
Yep.
No,
did you,
Adam?
I did.
You just flipped
I flipped off Adam.
No,
because Adam needs to be flipped off. Anybody?
Let's go have a smoke
break.
Let's have a little smoke break.
Don't remind me
that. I flipped off.
But the Rick that
I know who you talk about. He was about to get his ass whooped.
Oh, I told him, and see, this is how my dad taught me. My dad taught me. He says, have them think that you crazy. Make them think that you not working with all cylinders. This dude came at me about my wife who had a surgery.
I forgot about that.
He was one of my team leads. This guy, and so he says.
I'm in the hospital almost dying.
He says, there's no way that they didn't know that this was going to happen, blah, 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 and telling me with the doctor. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Hey, Rick, you hungry? He said, yeah, let's go get some lunch. We got down to where the fast food places are. And I said, hey, let me talk to you. I said, next time you talk to me about my life like that, I said, don't you ever pull that shit. I'm going to whip your ass. And he was like, and I said, let's go get the food. Went back to the office. He went got his stuff, packed it up, jumped in the car, and went back to Virginia. Then tells the guy that he reported to, he said, Lamar said he was going to get. He said, I already talked to Lamar. He said, he should have. Yeah. He said, I was wanting to beat your ass.
It is amazing to me.
Want to whoop that ass.
Right. It's amazing to me.
If you'd have whooped his ass, you might have got raised.
It's amazing to me the things that people think they have a right to say to you. And so we took a walk, a good brisk walk before we had to start getting ready for this live. And I was on an elevator with two Americans, and I was talking to them about the different areas in Portugal, and they're on a scouting trip and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm mentioning something about Sintra. And there's a Portuguese guy on the elevator who understood English. And he's like, no, that's not true. And then he starts to correct me and he says, all you have to do, because I'm like, look, it's hard to do A, B, and C in Sintra. And see, he doesn't understand spoiled Americans.
Right.
But the point was, he took the time to tell them all of the things that they could do in Sintra to eliminate that inconvenience. And then when we got off, he stood around. He said, yeah, and then you could do this and do that and da 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 da. And I'm like, that's why I love Portugal, because even though I didn't agree with him, he was trying to help.
Right.
Yeah.
He
Right.
understood the humanity. He didn't have the attitude, well, y'all Americans don't need to be here any doggone way.
Yeah, stupid.
Like Americans would have for someone
Yeah.
who's not speaking
Yeah.
English.
Exactly.
Even if they did, well, the people who understand another language probably wouldn't have that attitude. But, he took the time to actually stop what he was doing, give information that we might not have, and be helpful.
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't see that. I just don't see that. And I remember when my grandmother passed away, and I was her favorite and she was my favorite. And so, and other folks who don't have Big Mama in them might not understand the relationship that we have with some family members. When my parents decided to move to Los Angeles and I didn't feel comfortable, I lived with my grandparents. So in my opinion, she's more than a grandma. She's my second mom.
Right. Right.
And I made a point to call her once a week if I was on the train or whatnot. I'm going to check in with my grandmama and make sure she's doing good, right? So when she passed away, I didn't get back to LA in time to see her before she transitioned.
Oh.
So, yeah. And I remember being at LAX and my mom said, she's gone. And I'm just boo-hooing while trying to wait for somebody to pick me up. And people are like, nobody, but see, had I been in Portugal, they would have stopped and said, are you okay? What can I get for you?
Right.
Right.
Everybody was like walking around, make sure the crazy woman crying in public, right? But when I got back to work, his colleague said, but she was just your grandmother.
Ooh. Those fighting words. Those are fighting words.
Wow.
Those are fighting words.
You just had a miscarriage with less than 3 months, and I showed you the amount of care as if your living child had passed away. Not, understanding that women go through miscarriages prior to 3 months on a regular. Most folks don't realize that. I realized that. She didn't realize that.
Wow.
But that's not the point. The point is you're hurting, and I'm going to show you humanity.
Right.
But this other colleague who was melanin challenged could not find it in her heart to show me the same amount of humanity. And these are the things that you have to go through. It's so funny because, folks say to us on a regular, why would you move to a country that started the slave trade?
Yeah.
And my question is, why would you stay in a country that continues it?
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Hello. Boom.
Boom.
Right there. That part.
Because no one's trying to shoot at us.
Right.
We can knock on the wrong door and still end up alive.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
And that's part of one of the whole beautiful things about living in Mexico, even though the propaganda that the United States would like to put forth is it's so dangerous, it's so horrible, it's so this, the cartels of yada, yada, yada. And granted, if you deal in drugs, you're going to have drug problems. So because of the fact that we're not a member of the cartel and we don't deal in drugs or roll in those circles, we don't have a problem.
Or avocados.
Or avocado.
But the other thing is that the conversation between the two countries' presidents about a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Biden is talking about, hey, can you do something about the fentanyl that's coming from? He's and the Mexican president said, can you do something about them guns coming down
here?
Keep them guns out of here. We don't, because there's only one gun shop.
There's one gun store in Mexico.
In Mexico City. It's in Mexico City, and it takes an act of God to get a gun. So
Yeah.
they're being smuggled across the border, and because of the proliferation of firearms in the United States, it's causing problems to their neighbors to the south.
As a matter of fact, I just recently, last month, got a Mexican alert that came forward and said, okay, we see that you're traveling out the United States, because I had gone back to the States for a funeral or to get ready for making preparations for my niece. And they were like, ooh, we see you're about to travel. It's dangerous in the United States.
Right.
Be careful there.
That's the stuff that the folks back home don't hear, right?
Yeah.
So since you brought it up, let's go to crime levels. If you live in an area with a lot of crime, you may feel the impacts mentally. Yeah. Crime levels tend to affect females more strongly, increasing their risk of depression and anxiety.
Absolutely. And I did not take that into account and didn't really notice the physical reaction of just the police and being in a police state kind of in the United States until I got to Mexico. I had come to Mexico. This was like right around the time that I'm just kind of starting to think about what life could be about abroad. And I had come here to do two things: medical tourism, to get a root canal, and to finish my dissertation at the same time. So it was kind of like a writing trip / medical tourism to get my tooth fixed. The gag is getting my tooth done, the hotel, airfare, and the food and the actual procedure cost way less,
like
$2,500,
right?
Whereas the quote in the United States was around 10-15 for two, 2,500 for the whole, and I stayed 10 days.
Right.
Hello, and they did a fantastic job. Picked me up at the airport, came and dropped me off brought me to my hotel, brought me to and from the office each day. State-of-the-art equipment, everything crazy. So as I was walking one day, I said, you don't have to, you guys are so sweet. You don't have to, because the hotel is just down the street. I mean, I'll walk today. Today I want to walk. And it was a beautiful day. It was Cancun. Beautiful day. Get out and I'm walking and I had a hat on and the wind blew my hat off into the street. And I was like, ah, my hat. And I started to run out into the street. Now the street was empty, but I was kind of crossing in the street, in the middle of the street. And there was a guy on, they
got big SUVs with the military style.
Yeah. All the military stuff and all that kind of stuff. And he jumps out with the gun and he jumps down in my body. I physically had the reaction of like, oh my God, it's the police. And I felt my heart racing and all that kind of stuff. He jumped out. He just ran to go get my hat and said, here's your hat. And I was like,
and then he asked,
do you need any help? Yeah, do you need any help?
Directions or anything?
Did you need anything?
Right.
I was like, no. And then that right there made me go, wow, he was just trying to help you.
Right.
And you having this reaction like, I'm about to get shot. I'm about to get, that stress in my body, that feeling of stress in my body, that the difference in knowing that physical difference stuck with me. Like, wow.
It's PTSD.
It is PTSD. We got
back
from the airport and driving into Washington, D.C., and you see the car behind you and you check my lights. Am I going too fast? Am I going to, is everything okay?
Where's my driver's license?
Where's my driver's license? Keep your hands on the wheel because you don't want to get, them, that kind of thing.
Right.
And that kind of stress, it sticks in the body. That kind of PTSD it really is. That kind of reaction.
It really is. And here's the oxymoron. We don't have to deal with that in other countries because guns are illegal.
Right.
Exactly.
And most folks don't have guns.
Right.
So the cops don't have to worry that you might shoot them.
Right.
So it's a whole different relationship.
Right.
But when you live in a country where there's more guns than people.
Yes.
Then police have to feel threatened as well, right?
Right.
As much as they do the threatening, they probably feel threatened as well because
Everybody
you
is
don't
suspect.
know who's going to have a gun.
Everybody is suspect.
Yeah.
Everyone is suspect. Everyone may have something that can take me out, right? And
Right.
so it just changes the dynamic and the relationship between those who are supposed to be protecting and serving
Right.
and the people who they protect and serve.
And I have some best friends, good friends that are police officers, and it's like, why couldn't all the police officers be like them?
Yeah, I mean, the mass shootings in the United States this year outnumber the number of days. It's over, I think it's 570 now as far as mass shootings in the United States. It's only 365 days in a year.
Right.
And mass shootings is anything over 6.
Yes.
Right.
That's counting the regular one-off type
Right.
shooting, 1 or 2 persons that got shot.
Right.
Not to count that.
But
So-
thoughts and prayers, baby, thoughts and prayers. Because if you didn't know, thoughts and prayers create a shield around our babies.
Right.
This magical shield.
Right.
Is that
We don't
like,
have to pass laws or do anything. We just have thoughts and prayers.
Why would we thought past? Oh, it's too soon. It just happened. Why are you talking about it?
Why are you trying to politicize this?
Why?
Right.
Why?
let's
It's too soon to talk
let's-
about that. All right, let's talk about that next week. Why are we
No.
talking about that next week? That's all. That's bad.
More good guys need guns.
Right.
Or you can have bulletproof backpacks.
Give teachers guns. No.
Or make the whiteboards bulletproof, and then everybody can hide behind the.
No.
I was talking to a parent yesterday. So yeah, we met some folks from New York, and they just moved here with probably, what would you say, like 5 and 9, 5 and 8-year-olds, something like that. And I said, so in the school that they're going to, do you have active shooter drills?
That's crazy.
Of course not.
They're like, no.
No.
That's just.
Fire drills. That's it. That's it.
How do I feel each morning putting my baby on a bus and worried, are they going to come home in the evening?
Right.
That right there, you're talking about mental health.
Right.
That
Right.
there.
Yeah.
To see other children. And for me, I was done at Newtown when President Obama was president. And I was like, they shooting up the babies in first grade. Surely they're going to do something about this. Now they're going to do something about this, because all the other stuff was just like, okay, they're going to do something about this, right?
Right.
Right? Are you going to protect my
Right.
baby when I'm sending them to school? And then on top of that, are they even getting a good education when they get there?
Right.
So, but beyond the fact that they're maybe not getting the best education, and then their lives are at risk, and then the bullying that they experience at school,
Right.
and then on top of that, the teachers aren't being paid. God bless the teachers in the struggle that they have to deal with each and every day. It's insane.
It really is. I happened to be at the White House the day of Sandy Hook. So I will never, ever forget that. And we were wondering, where's the president? Because when you're in the White House, y'all, if you don't know, they block. You don't get any signal. You can take all the pictures you want, but you can't send them to Facebook. You can't go live on Instagram from the White House.
Right.
But, maybe the president can, but we certainly couldn't. So we had no idea what was going on.
Right.
And it was all over his face.
Right.
And it's really sad that that some folks have lost their humanity to the point where they could not see that this man felt it in his soul.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
When they don't care about shooting up the white babies, they
All bets are off. All bets are off.
And that from right there was the moment that something said, you know what? This is not it. This is not it.
No.
This is not it. And so for us to move here, even with our kids, and they were teenagers at that time, for us to move with our kids was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Because
it's not even a question. It's
Right.
not even a question. And when we talk about our mental health, and if we still have kids in the home, even if we don't, because you still parent as you parent adult kids.
Well, who are we talking to about their kids going to school and the teachers would actually give them hugs and show them love?
Yeah.
And it's like, no wonder why the kids are here the way they are. How they're, there's no
Yeah.
conflict. They're
Yeah.
not each other's throats.
And we were talking to Black families at a gathering that we had, and they were saying, the one thing that we have to say is our kids never have gotten so many hugs outside of the house.
Wow. Wow.
And and we know that folks need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hugs a day minimum to be healthy, to be mentally healthy, y'all. Okay.
Right.
And then the other thing is laughter. I hear the kids laughing all the time. And I think kids laugh something like 298 times per day and adults 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when we talk about mental health, it's not just, it's not the things that are so obvious.
Right.
So crime levels, Portugal is the 6th safest country in the world.
Wow. Yeah. And that really makes a difference. It makes a difference. It really does. When I was in the States just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I could feel, just coming back to the United States, I could literally feel the weight of the I can't even describe it. There's a pulse, so to speak, that exists in the United States. And the only way you notice it is when you're outside of it and come back. It's a pulse that is kind of throbbing, and you get pulled and sucked into this kind of, the matrix. You get sucked into this, and it does not feel, there's a rush, constant go, get type of mentality that just, I was like, let me go. I want to go home. Yeah. Let me get back to Queretaro. I'm ready to go, because this
I was so triggered. I was so triggered the whole time we were in the States, but we'll get to that. So let's answer some questions here. We've got a lot of questions in the chat.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, a lot. So I've been starring them. So Sherry asks, in what ways would you compare moving across the US versus moving internationally? I've done the former, but look forward to the latter.
Okay. The international move just had more paperwork, parts and pieces. Because if you've done a move from the East Coast to the West Coast, you kind of know what is expected. It's not much difference. The difference is knowing what kind of paperwork that you need to have, what kind of governmental type of procedures, rules, regulations that you need to
the country that you're going to.
Correct. If you're going by land, or if you're having your stuff shipped over by boat.
Which you can bring without any taxes. Because if you get your temporary residency to Mexico, you have
6 months.
6 months to bring whatever you want duty free.
Right.
So if you know that, it makes it easier. It's just knowing the rules.
Right.
It's just a longer haul. I mean, shipping container, it was brought to the port, brought to our house, they unloaded it, we were good to go.
Right. Yeah. So it really just depends also on your what country you're going to. Have you done your prep work ahead of time? Have you done your due diligence about, is there a language difference, or am I going to have to learn another language? How do I get around? Doing your due diligence in terms of scouting and doing some really deep dive, getting involved in communities, Facebook and the like, being able to have a sense of what the boots on ground experience is before you get there makes all the difference.
Yeah, I think so. So for those of you who are asking questions, I'm going to answer the questions dealing with mental health first. And then at the end, I will get to the questions about logistics and things like that. But I will answer this question. So I think, number one, Angela and the market drive their stuff down.
Yes, we drove.
We drove from DC in a van. but the bulk of the stuff was in the shipping container. So
Yeah.
Right.
we drove, and contrary to belief, when we got to the border,
Oh, right.
they were telling us, "Oh, it's gonna be terrible. They're gonna have all these stuff out."
I was ready. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, what you need? What you need? I got
Paperwork.
it. The paper you need. Okay, come with it. I'm ready.
Dog vaccination.
I got it.
all this stuff.
I got it. I
Yeah.
got that too. Got ready. I was ready. And we get up.
5 minutes. It was 5 minutes.
I was like, oh,
Got out the car. He looked in the back. He says, that duffel, open up. All these your belongings? Yeah.
yes.
Have a nice day.
Cute dog.
Yeah. Right.
And so some of that, y'all, has to do with, you had a family. You had kids in the car, a dog, and two
dogs.
grown behind adults. Oh, yeah,
Right,
two at the time, yes.
Yeah.
Two grown behind adults.
Right.
Can we say a single young person will have the same experience? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but maybe so. Maybe
Right.
so.
Right.
So for us, if you want to ship things, there are economical ways to ship things to Portugal. It's going to take a while, just like it took a while for your stuff to get there that you shipped. But I think the main thing is that the spaces in Europe, because, maybe more like CDMX, it is so dense in Europe. It's very, very, very old.
Right.
And even though the apartment we're living in was built in the 50s, which for the United States is not that old, a lot of the housing is older than that. And some newer, but it's still a very dense city. So the spaces are smaller, and thinking that you are going to bring all your crap from your 2,500 to 3,000 square foot home,
Right.
traditional 3-bedroom, 2-bath home.
Be able
It's
to
just,
find a
it's
place
not.
that fits.
Right.
Exactly.
It just ain't gonna fit.
It's not going to. And we're going to talk about the home environs as it relates to mental health as well.
Right.
But I want to get back to the crime level because, thank you, sweetheart, he did look up. So I know that I want to dispel the misnomers, because America would have you thinking, number one, it's the greatest country on earth, and that it's the safest, and everybody else is scary.
Right.
And that is simply not the case.
That's
So
true.
Queretaro is twice as safe as New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody talking about, why would you move to New York? It's so dangerous. When nobody say that.
Right.
Queretaro is twice as safe as New York City.
Queretaro, the state of Queretaro is one of the safest in the entire country. Country. So it's
and probably in North America.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think
Yeah.
I think it's on the list.
Yes.
It definitely
Right.
is on the list. And that was one of the factors that we looked at when we were considering moving to Mexico. Was one
Exactly.
of the,
Exactly. And when you feel comfortable sending your kid to the corner store, or like I cooking something that's after dark because now the time has changed, right? And I'm like, oh, doggone it, I forgot onions. I'm gonna run and get some onions right quick. And Rick's like, okay, sweetheart, see you in a second.
Right.
He doesn't feel with no car.
Right.
I can walk to the grocery store and walk back with absolutely no feelings of being potentially victimized.
Right.
Is that to say absolutely no crime happens here? Of course it does.
Right.
It's usually going to be in the form of
Are we
pickpockets.
on the planet Earth? Yes, there's going to be crime.
If there's humans, there's going to be some crime.
Yes,
right?
Mini Cooper would work in Mexico.
Yes.
I saw that question pop up.
Yes.
Oh, you can get Cooper do you real well here.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to hit the hot topics sooner than later. Let's talk about environmental racism.
Oh.
Environmental racism is defined as racial discrimination in environmental policymaking. It has been implicated as an important environmental factor that affects the mental health of Black, Indigenous, people of color, BIPOC individuals and communities. It's interesting that I'm going to add on to that systemic racism, because it goes part and parcel, right? Like if you create policies, and you will never see a policy today, in federally at least, that says we're going to make sure that BIPOC people, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, do not have access to this, or that that we will create communities right next to a dump, next to a toxic site,
Right.
or that we will make sure that we don't care about the quality of their water,
right,
etc. However, if you look at the map for redlining and compare those to the maps of gentrification.
Exactly. And if you look at the placement of where those water treatment facilities are and where those plants that are dangerous to the environment are located, nine times out of 10, that's cause cancer and all of those kinds of things. 9 times out of 10, those are in locations or dense locations where people who are of lower wealth and status are able to live.
Yeah.
That's why you have got to vote. You have got to vote. It is so critical for you to vote in the United States. You cannot take this election and be like, oh, well, the Republicans, the Democrats, yada, yada, yada. That's what they are counting on. You have got to vote, because what is critical is for you to make those decisions about who is going to place what where and have your voice heard. And you can't allow them to let your lack of voting give it away to the other party
you've just answered the question right there by not voting. And so in 95% of the counties and states, there is an election, y'all, every year. Not every 4 years, not every 2 years, every year. And Rick and I took the time to make sure that we voted electronically on our local elections that took place this year. It was school board. Right. School board and some referendums right? And, find the organizations that you can trust to help keep you informed about who these people are. When I lived there, I knew them personally. Now I don't. Well, some of them I still do. But find those organizations that do endorsements and give you information about that stuff. It is not by coincidence that the folks in Michigan had water issues.
Exactly.
Right.
That wasn't coincidence. It was a calculated risk.
Right. And
the calculation was those people don't have political power. Those people don't have money. And so we can save money
and use their political power.
Thank you.
They used their political power. The fact that those shenanigans was going on with that water treatment plant would not have happened.
Happened in the first place. Right. Exactly. So somebody's trying to be the hero and saying, I'm going to fix the budget, and this is how I'm going to fix the budget. I'm going to fix the budget at the expense of human beings.
Right. And I'm not going to get held accountable because what y'all did.
Because y'all don't vote.
Right.
Y'all don't vote.
It's so important. So important to vote.
Yeah.
Take the time to do it. Don't think that, they don't need my vote. Yes, they do. They need every single vote they can get.
I stopped going to church when my pastor said, "Oh, I threw away that ballot. That's not an important election."
No.
They're all important. School board elections, they're all important.
The local elections decide things. The national elections, that's great, that's fine, that's wonderful, but it's the local elections that matter. And you can't take this cynical attitude of, well, the Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans. Listen, you need to vote your interests. Period, point blank, regardless of party. You need to vote your interests. What serves you? My roads being fixed, my lights being on, my children having good education. That's what serves me. Who's out there who's about to do it? And
the libraries being open.
Right. Exactly.
The fire department's being funded. And here's the thing, y'all. The folks who are running for local elections today will be running for Congress tomorrow.
That's true.
Like somebody like Mike Johnson, who should not be Speaker of the House.
He shouldn't have ever got that high, really, honestly.
Or Lauren Boebert, who should not even be in Congress. The Marjorie Taylor Greens.
Miss Happy Time Theater.
this is what we get. This is what we get, you know, and I think that voting should be compulsory. I really
Yeah.
do think it should be compulsory.
When you turn 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now let's talk about systemic racism.
Mhm. One of the little perks of being Black in Mexico, I mean, first of all, there are Black people here
Right.
that when slavery was going on in the United States and slaves were escaping from the United States, they came into Mexico, and Mexico gave them shelter, and Mexico outlawed slavery. So there's a population of Afro-Mexicanos here. So that's the first thing. That's kind of the gag that a lot of people sometimes don't know. So if we come into a local tienda and I just shut up, if I keep my mouth shut, you know, I get the local prices.
Right.
Now, our white counterparts, our white friends who come in looking like American privilege,
And-
smelling like
and-
American privilege,
And acting and showing their American privilege.
showing their whole American privilege ass.
Yes.
They don't get those tienda like prices, and they
Right.
don't get that treatment that people give me that brown people give,
Right.
that they go, I got you. That type of thing. So
Right.
that's been a pleasant, lovely experience to have.
That is especially true in Mexico, and we found the same treatment as well. And
Yeah.
so, for all of you who say, especially from Southern California, from Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, who say Black and browns are always at war, that's America.
That's America.
That's
Yeah.
what they try to do.
Yeah.
They try to divide and conquer.
Now
Those are Mexican Americans or Latino Americans if they're not from Mexico. That is
We also
not
talk
the
about mental health when you talk about bringing your trauma with you to Mexico. I was with some other expats, some Black expats, and who have legitimately had trauma around racial issues. Go into a store and someone looks at you and, what you looking at me for? I'm not going to steal. What you think you looking at me for? That type of thing.
Right.
But really, the reality, the gag was they're looking at you because, oh, your skin is so beautiful. How are you? Oh, hey, you know, that type of thing. Or in our case, you're so tall.
especially in Mexico.
Especially when she comes in wearing a dress or makeup and hair like this, some little girl is sitting there going,
You know,
I know because Angela is supermodel material. For those of you who don't know.
no.
Oh,
but
yes, absolutely.
it's cute. It is really cute. So if you have that kind of trauma and you assume that, oh, you're looking at me, so and you got your dukes up ready to fight, and it's not even that. It's not even that way. Most of the time, it's love.
Yeah.
It's for us. It's always been love. I have not at this point have ever had an experience in the store where I was like,
we go to the mall here, which is one of the largest in Latin America, Antia Mall. And I used to have the experience of someone coming to you in the department store, following you around, asking you if you need help. Well, the people ask you for help here are actually coming to help you, not to check to make sure you're not
stealing.
Right. Because they know that look of, I'm trying to read the sign. And I'm trying to do the math. Okay.
Or you're holding up your phone to do the translation.
Right. They know you need some help.
And converting it from pesos to dollars.
Okay, yeah. How much is that? Oh, okay. Well, that's a good. That's pretty good. That type of thing.
Right.
They see that you need some help. Do you need to find anything? Are you okay? You got everything here?
Right.
As a matter of fact, no. I need, come help me. Help.
Necesito ayuda, por favor. So it's interesting because I was talking to a Portuguese acquaintance of mine, and we were talking about systemic racism. And I don't know if she understood the word systemic, truth be told, but she understood once I started talking.
Right.
And she was saying, the interesting thing about it is because she had gone to college a couple of years in the United States. And she said, yes, we are still grappling with admitting our role in taking Africans from Africa and distributed them throughout the Americas, right? And then a lot of them came here to Lisbon. a lot of them came here to Lisbon. As a matter of fact, at first, they were only coming here to Lisbon to be indentured servants in folks' homes.
Right.
And so there was a time, just like down south, where Lisbon was more Black than it was anything else. Folks don't know that. But she said the one thing that we never did throughout the whole time is have Jim Crow laws.
Right.
There were never separate facilities or separate hotels or separate drinking fountains or any of those external things that would remind you on a daily basis that
Right.
you are less than.
Right.
And I find that interesting because, you know, in terms of Western Europe, I have not, and England notwithstanding, because I haven't spent enough time in London, and Manchester didn't have a lot of Black folks. But I haven't spent enough time in London to know. But in our travels, I have not seen this type of Black population so integrated into the society. And we were talking to the folks who had the daughters. They were actually French.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But they had lived in New York for, I don't know, 10 years or whatever. I think the daughters were actually born in America, not France, but they spoke both French and English because, you know, Americans don't speak no languages.
Right.
Barely can speak English. 45 couldn't even speak English, right? So, you know, so they learned 2, 3, 4 languages, y'all. 2, 3, 4 languages. But in any event, you know, I think the bottom line is that the relationship between, and they admitted this, that it's not the same even for them in France that it is here. You know, the relationship that the Portuguese have with the folks who they used to oppress, it's different. It's different. And am I saying that there's no racism here? No, I'm not saying that whatsoever.
Right.
I'm definitely not saying that. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine just sent us a video of a Karen. But there's only one in a year and a half.
There are definitely white Karens here in Mexico.
For sure.
Are they American? Are they Spanish?
They
Mexican?
are typically Americans or Canadians. Coming and showing their tail.
Yeah.
For the most part. But now, Mexico is not without its troubles. Just like again, it's on Earth. And whenever you have humans, you're going to have encounters. Right. So in Mexico, there is a sense of classism that exists.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Here too.
That, you know, you do have that to contend with. And so sometimes we're able to use a little bit of that kind of privilege to our benefit or what have you, which is crazy because in the United States, sometimes that didn't never get you nothing anyway. You know, that you still get treated and sent to the back of the bus.
If Trevor Noah's getting pulled over and taken out the car.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, you have some of that exists, but for the most part, we can interact day to day without any problems, without any trouble.
Yeah. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah. And obviously there's classism here too. And yes, there is American privilege in that they assume that we rich because y'all over here. So you must have a little something going on. And maybe relationally, you know, in comparison to the average Portuguese person, we might be considered upper middle class.
Right.
Because the wages here are lower. But we know for America,
struggle city.
For America.
Yeah. Figures in some areas and still be struggling.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly. All right. I'm going to look through these questions again and see. Is it okay to have a recording device in your pocket? Always recording. Always on recording. Hey, Nina. I have no idea what the laws are here about recording. Although when people pop off, I do start recording stuff. I do know that they have privacy laws in Portugal. And so I try not to show faces.
Right.
Just the back of people, because they haven't given me permission, especially if I'm going to put it on YouTube or something like that.
Right.
But Yeah.
Here in Mexico, we've had a couple. Now they do. One of the issues that they do contend with is corruption in police departments because police are not paid very well here.
Right.
And so, as a result, you do have some people trying to take advantage of gringos when they come in, that they see you in a foreign plated car and a figure that you probably don't speak the language, you probably don't know the rules of the road, you probably don't let me mess with them and try to get some extra money. So I can, and it does help to whip out that phone and go boom, bam, and then suddenly it's like, oh wow, you know. Okay.
Oh really?
Yeah, we've had that happen.
Yes.
Twice. For you.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
And they will try to get you. But that
Puerto Vallarta.
Oh,
that's where that was. It was,
of course, in the touristy areas.
In the touristy areas, that's when that happens a lot, because of course tourists are coming in from all over, and the tourists don't know that you can't make. Tourists don't know that you can't make a left turn from the left-hand lane.
Yeah.
You got to get in the right-hand lane to make a left-hand turn.
Right.
Yeah.
What? Woo! Pull you over. So they know that kind of thing, and so there's some corrupt police officers on duty here.
You just have to know the rules. What traffic police have jurisdiction over, National Guard, or who have replaced the state troopers or whatever, state police, what they have jurisdiction, municipality police, what they have jurisdiction. Because in a lot of cases, the traffic police officers who don't carry a gun or anything like that actually don't have any authority.
Have no right to even pull you over.
Have no right to put, and then they really cannot write a citation without doing it in front of their supervisor. So if you force the issue with them,
that's interesting.
See,
people need to know. That's why if y'all thinking about Mexico, you got to follow Lamar and Angela. That's the first time I've heard that.
The info. We're going to hook you up
because they will ask you for your license. You
don't give them the license.
You can have my license, because they'll hold it and not give it back to you.
And you're stuck.
You're
trying to get your license back.
So
unless you give me 3,000 pesos.
No. What he asked me in Mexico City, 8,000 pesos, which is like $450. Fortunately, there was a good Samaritan that came up, got me out of the situation.
I was like, hey. Stop it.
He said, stop it. And actually the traffic cop actually ran up on the side of the passenger and said in Spanish, told me, get out of here, because he didn't want any trouble, because he knew it had been busted.
He was caught.
He was caught, busted.
Yeah.
And so it is a problem. But if you know the rules, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, keep with the locals, and they'll help you. They'll help you to the game and tell you what's up and what's not, and what to look out for, and where to watch, and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, because other than that, here in Queretaro, we've never had interaction with police officers
at all.
At all.
They've been really helpful, very friendly. And now, and talking about mental health, now I've noticed that one of those big police trucks can come with the guy standing on the armored guy standing up,
and it'll be like 7, 8 of them in the back of the thing
with the big militia,
and then one guy standing up there with the actual submachine gun.
And I'm looking at him in my rear view mirror like, huh, and then just keep it going. And I was like, wow,
right?
Because a while ago, about a year and a half ago, when I was in the States, if this would have happened, my whole body would have had a reaction and gone.
Because police officers in the United States spend a lot of time tailing somebody, putting their information into their computer, looking up, I pulled you over. Whoa, time out, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Here, they don't, that's not their big issue, because I can tell you right now, the way people drive here in Mexico, they run red lights, they make left-hand turns from the right-hand lane. They will make a U-turn from the right-hand lane, going the opposite direction.
It is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, especially in Mexico City. Right. It is Mad Max. That if you've ever seen that movie, go look that movie up.
I've heard.
I've seen.
I heard it's like a dance, you know. And look, so we already knew we weren't getting a car. Y'all are brave to be driving in Mexico, because I know what it was like.
Real brave.
And so then we were like, okay, but what about a scooter? Let's get a scooter, right?
Oh, a scooter. A scooter.
Girl, we ain't getting no scooter. These people drive crazy. Now, this is what's so crazy. Portuguese are the most patient folks.
Oh, until they get behind the wheel.
Yeah,
And then that's when they turn into
Yes.
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Because here in Mexico, everybody's in a hurry, and they will
When they're
rush
in the car.
When they're in the car, when they're out walking, you walk down, and then they'll stop in front of you, like, dude.
When they get in the cafe,
Yeah.
and, oh, I'm sipping here for hours. We're just enjoying ourselves.
Right.
And then as soon as they get in the car, they, you know,
Yeah.
they lose
Same
their
here.
They lose
It's
their
universal.
Their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lose their minds. So
I
high
would
vibe.
recommend trying to learn how to drive
in Mexico.
You
need to come here with at least this kind
Some
of
skills.
Some skills. I mean, I've been driving for 50.
So in other words, don't be no Manhattanite.
No.
With, you know, right?
Mexico City. We just got back from Mexico City yesterday. Well, I have to drive getting us out of Mexico City because Lamar is like, oh my God, oh Jesus. You know?
I'm about ready to, hey, look, I'm going to do a little demolition derby and bump drive somebody to get out of my way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You all are so brave.
Yeah.
From the stories that I've heard, there is no way I won't even drive in Manhattan.
Yeah. It's
Much less.
I don't know which one. We haven't decided which one.
The traffic in Mexico City is just
it's off the chain. It's next level. It's next level.
But the motorcycles, you can't make a sudden move because you're going to put one of the motorcycles into another car.
Yeah, I wouldn't even compare it to New York.
No.
And I've driven in New York. I can drive in New York fine. Mexico City, that's a whole different
level.
And
so even with all of that, with having to look at militia, right? Like, and we don't see that as often here in Portugal. We have seen it. We saw it more in Italy, the most in Italy,
I think
some in Spain.
It depends on what's going on with GNR and stuff like
Yeah,
that. If they're having big events like they're going to have Web Summit, you'll see their presence more.
Yeah.
When the Pope came, you saw the presence more.
Right.
But it just depends on where you are too and stuff like that.
Yeah, because we were near embassies and stuff when we were in
Then
Italy.
you'll see them come out with the bigger artillery and stuff like that.
And at first, when we were in our travels, it was like, whoa, you know, and my brain still in the Matrix and with the red pill.
Right.
Saying, we ain't got that in the United States. No, we don't have that, but they're still killing us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So High Vibe says, what were the physical changes you noticed as your mental health improved?
Okay. So I in looking back at our videos, especially the videos that we took right before we left, because that whole time period, just thinking back on it, that was traumatic. It was trauma with a capital T. Trauma. It was a traumatic time. A lot was happening. Both kids were sick and in the hospital at some point in time. We had to deal with so much that was going on all at the same time, and it all came crashing in. And I literally look at those videos, and you can see it in my face. There was I had a picture of myself in 2020 in September, the beginning of September of 2020, and I look good that day. That's why I took a selfie. I was like, oh, you cute. You look good today. Oh my God. I looked at that picture because that was when I was in the height of the rat race. And I look at that picture.
And that was right at the
beginning of foolishness that was happening on COVID and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I look at that picture and I can literally see I was miserable. And I was miserable in that life. And I happy with my husband, happy with my children, loved my family, but the life was literally sucking the life out of me, and you could see it in my face. You could so when I compare the picture to a year later, we're in Cancun on a boat with a coconut. You know,
I remember those days. You were doing your happy dance.
Yes, I was doing my happy dance. The expression of happiness and joy just was kind of like oozing out of. So in terms of my physical changes, I've noticed that in just my general appearance, We've dropped weight. Now he's dropped weight. I've dropped weight too, kind of like I need to go back on the other side
Right.
of the scale. But we weren't even trying, not even trying,
No.
just by the fact that we have the sun every day. The weather here is fantastic. We were walking more, getting out, getting more exercise, fresh air, not eating as much, not hardly eating any fast food.
No,
Not
we eat at
eating-
home. We cook dinner here at
cook
home.
fresh vegetables, I mean, everything is
Fresh fruit,
fresh in the
everything.
grocery store.
Yours.
You can go to the little tiendas where they sell our vegetables, and the carrots still have the stalk on it and dirt still on it
Yes,
from where
absolutely.
they've just literally pulled it out of the ground, and you're plopping that on your plate. A couple hours later, that just being able to have that experience has been just life changing for us. Just being able to not have that, and stress kills. I can't even say that enough. Stress kills, and the effect of stress on my body is particularly dangerous. I have a weak immune system, and so from when I get stressed out, that's the first thing. I'm getting sick.
Yeah.
Immediately, I will be sick if something happens. So I have to really watch the amount of stress that I allow to come in and all that kind of stuff. So I've noticed in terms of my mental health, just having those, just feeling better, being able to move, having fresh air that I can't see.
Right.
Have those experiences each and every day, being able to get up in the morning, or just not even get up in the morning, lay in the bed, look out the window and see the mountains in the distance and the sun coming up over the mountains.
The
just
view
looking at it now.
It's just it's spectacular.
It does something for
for
your peace of mind that goes, wow, and it just, it resonates. So
You talk about pollution, and they say that statistics indicate and research shows that there's an increased rate of depression in more polluted areas.
I believe it.
I believe it.
Right.
I believe it.
Air pollution can increase one's risk of anxiety, while even short-term exposure can increase suicide risk.
Wow. I
The
believe that.
sky here looks like the background.
It's the pretty blue. That's
You see that background?
Yeah,
that's the first thing I look at.
We're looking at out here.
That's what we're looking at, that kind of background, like here.
Right. And in the mountains in Colorado, we would get that, but definitely not in the city.
Yeah.
And so for me, high vibe, I can't say I lost weight, but I can say that I was too thin, and was losing weight because I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat.
Out.
I was so stressed out that I couldn't eat. I've been eating good, y'all. I've been eating good. Oh my gosh, we found this Brazilian restaurant around the corner. And it was like, I always say, it was like my Creole grandmama went here, and there's a fusion, because I don't, when you're not used to eating a certain culture's food, is like, how do you describe it?
Yeah.
That meat, did it melt in your mouth?
Oh my God.
It was melted. It was like, it was Brazilian soul food.
You couldn't chew it.
Oh,
no,
wow.
because it just melted.
It would just melt. You couldn't, there's nothing to chew. As soon as it hit your mouth, it was like,
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
we were in Costa Rica in 2015, and I'm still raving about those strawberries that we got on the side of the road on that mountain. Those strawberries were like this. They were humongous, fresh. Everything in Costa Rica is fresh. No, you don't have that organic sign, because everything
you don't have that be organic, right? Like
you pull it up from the road.
Exactly.
The bananas tasted. They had a sweeter flavor to it. It just, everything had a much better taste to it. And even meat here, chicken, when you buy chicken at the grocery store, or when you buy chicken at your local grocer, the chicken is yellow in color, not the pale kind of white, pale color. It's yellow because they feed the chicken. The chicken's free range, and they're fed marigolds, and that makes their skin yellow. So you get that kind of, you don't have the ingredients put into your food automatically that you would if you were in the States and having that kind of processed meat type of vibe going on.
The meat taste.
If you want processed meat, you can get some here.
But, well, yes, and you can get it here too.
What do you do when you can get it cheaper?
Right.
And I can go ahead
at
and
the
buy
butcher.
a whole big thing of chicken at the butcher, and it'd be way cheaper than it if I go into my La Comer and buy.
Yeah, and I've noticed like so one of the things that they have in Portugal, and this going to physical changes, and even though I've gained weight, my vitals and all of that are still perfect,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? Because fast food. Well, we did have Domino's pizza the other night on our sangria night because somebody ate up all the chicken and stuff, and I was not a happy camper. I'm like, we need some food up in here, but I think that's the first time we've had it in like God, I don't even know when. Because there's so many mom and pop restaurants that have this delicious food. You can order it through their version of Uber. We have Uber Eats as well, but their version of Uber Eats is what I usually use. Or we just walk down the way and pick it up. But as far as cooking at home and stuff like that, we do that 90% of the time, if not more.
Yeah.
And right. And each neighborhood, I don't know if this is Portugal wide, but I know it's Lisbon wide. Each neighborhood has its own indoor farmers market.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice.
So you've got an indoor farmers market in each neighborhood. And then on top of that, every other corner has a fruitateria.
Right, right.
And so, when you're picking up apples and you see one with a worm in it,
Right.
that's all you need to know. It's organic. Because
Right.
otherwise, it would, there would be no worms
Yes.
if it were not organic. And so they're not using pesticides anyway. And so you can get, just everything in season without it being imported at the fruitarias. Now, if you want a pineapple from Costa Rica, you can go to the chain grocery stores out of season, right? Out of season. Because otherwise they grow in Madeira, which is an island of Portugal. But if you want it out of season, you can get it. You're going to pay a little money for it.
Pay some money.
A little bit more money, right?
Yeah.
But you can get it. But otherwise, you buy what's in season from the fresh fruit guy, and to eat from farm to table.
Right. It is definitely farm to table here.
Yeah.
And
Right.
when I was in the States just 2 weeks ago with my sister, we went to the grocery store and she was buying an avocado, or we walked past the avocados. One avocado, and it was maybe not even half the size. It was a little tiny avocado, $4. I almost spit out my, what? $4. That's 4
Wait,
cents
what?
here. 4 cents. I mean, their avocados are so plentiful. So that kind of again got me in the mindset that let me get out of here. I can't afford it here. This is what?
Yeah, because you
get
talk
used
about
to the prices that
pineapples. Pineapples are right on top of
abundant mangoes,
the
papayas,
pineapples are right on top of the
limes.
big old tower of meat that they use to make
the
tacos al pastor.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I mean, and throw it in. So pineapples you can get all year,
all day, every day
here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much fresh fruit here. I mean, grapes and apples, oranges, even the small oranges, and then the lemon.
Oh yeah, I forgot what the little oranges are. They're so sweet. They almost, it's like a cross, orange, and it's like a bigger tangerine.
Yeah.
But it's bigger and it's sweet. It's so good. And so I keep forgetting the name of the.
Sounds good to make sangria.
Yeah. Well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I go back to sangria. We had a good time. We closed down the place.
I hear you.
Nice.
So Cassandra asked, if the USA made political corrections, would you return?
Hell
no. I'm not going back. Like dude said in Harlem Nights, now put your mom on the phone. I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home.
Even if we decided to move someplace else other than Mexico, decided we wanted to try something else on for size, I wouldn't go back.
Look, Cassandra, there is a disturbance in the force. And when I mean that in the United States, there's a disturbance. And the disturbance is that they keep messing with people of color. And the people of color, and I had to buy one of those while we were there. We are the ones that are purchasing the firearms in the United States along with the white folk, and they're stockpiling it. And there's a DJ, I can't remember, he's in Atlanta. He's doing the same thing that these white militia or whatever. He's taking Black wives, their sons, husbands, and they're training them in undisclosed locations on how to use firearms, not for an offensive point of view, but to protect themselves, because they're tired of them messing with them. And if you walk over there, you're not going to limp back. They're going to put you 6 foot under because they're using large weapons. And so there's a disturbance there. So would I go back to the United States?
There's too many political corrections that would have to take place.
It's just too much. And if they don't take care of these Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Mike Johnson, Mitch McConnell needs to lock up for good. And so, I mean, it's just too much correction of human beings who are locked in on their racism, on them, their privilege, on wanting to erase any history of us being in the country. I can't go back there.
I don't see it anytime soon.
No,
and and if I think back, we've never been politically correct in the United States. Okay, so that has never been. It was, the country was founded upon genocide.
Yes.
And then the abject oppression of us, of Black folks, the genocide of the original people of America.
Right.
Okay, so the foundation is already rotten.
Blood is in the soil.
And the blood is in the soil, and there have been no reconciliation.
Right.
Not only has there been no reconciliation, there's barely been an admittance of wrongdoing.
They don't want to
they don't want to talk about it, right? And so even if we were to get a Congress, a Senate of thinkers, sane thinkers, right? And then a president that had the moral fortitude.
Right.
I have never, ever felt like I truly belonged to America.
Right.
I've never felt that I was truly an equal citizen in America.
Right.
And I felt it for about this long when Obama first got elected.
Yeah.
Second time around, I was flipping so many. I was so angry at the way that they treated him that I found myself grimacing at babies who didn't look like they could be my baby.
Right.
Now, that is a bridge too far.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, when I'm like, now I know you innocent, but 10, 20 years from now, you're going to be just like him. And I'm thinking this, like that is not good for my mental health nor my physical health to have that much angst where I can't even enjoy an innocent baby.
Right. And you get tired of having to explain this. Oh, you get tired of having to black-splain to white folks the experience of racism, of systemic racism, especially. You get tired of having to prove to them
that it exists.
And it's not just you making it up or being oversensitive and all this kind of stuff.
So when I had to explain to Julie, one of our neighbors, who didn't understand affirmative action, and she didn't understand that the reason it was brought about was not because to put Black folk in college. It was to ignore the fact that they had a different skin color and that they had the qualifications to make. So it wasn't fair. So in order to make it fair, they had to force people to be fair. And so she was like, so it's not about hiring Blacks? I said, no. If I go into a job and I've got 10 years of experience as a sysadmin, but they've got Johnny, the white guy, who's only got one, the hiring manager feels more comfortable with Johnny, the white guy, and hires him. But I've got more experience. Mm-hmm. This is why affirmative action existed. And it's unfortunate that they're trying to take that away.
They're not trying. It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
And so it really is something that I can't deal with anymore. It makes my skin crawl.
Let's even take it to another level, because again, you've got a thinking Senate, you've got a thinking Congress that have the moral fortitude, you've got a president that has the moral fortitude to do the right thing, right? Does that mean that me as a Black woman with a master's degree from a highly recommended college, am I now going to get paid what I'm worth? Why am I still getting paid what mediocre white guy with just an associate's degree? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it is when you comparing them to my master's, doggone it. I'm in more debt, right?
Or your doctorate. You have a doctorate.
Or your doctorate, right? Like, why is he making more than I'm making?
Exactly.
Why do Black women with a terminal degree, that
Come
means
on now.
PhD,
Come on.
MD, or
Come
a law degree, have higher mortality rates when delivering babies than white moms with a high school dropout? That's a high school dropout. Like, political correctness cannot change these things because these are human beings. These are doctors and things that already have preconceived notions about who we are and what we are not going to do and what we do or do not deserve. I don't know how even like, am I saying don't vote? No, vote, because maybe our grandkids, it will have changed so much. Like, if we could have political correctness from now to 40 years, 60 years from now, then maybe our grandkids or great grandkids can enjoy the country that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights says it is.
Right.
As opposed to the reality of today.
Yeah. Very true. Really true.
Yeah.
I have never, ever, ever truly felt American. Ever.
No.
Because I've never been treated like other people get treated. I've never had the liberties that other people have had. I've never, like, my great grandmother was born on the plantation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
right? They're taking away the right to vote from people down south as we speak. They are taking away the right. Are they doing it by laws? Yes, they are. Are they saying that anybody with brown skin can't vote? No, because they know better now. Just like the Republican guys say, you can't say the N word anymore. So you say things like entitlement and this and that and the other.
Or stuff like that just kind of has
urban
that kind of impression, but not yet saying it. Right. Well, right now they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying it to our faces.
Yeah.
Right now they are actually literally saying it to our face. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. That's why I felt for us, we had to get out of there because I could not stay yet another moment and be able to feel
sane
and safe.
No.
And that's the thing. So even when they were afraid to say it out loud.
Right.
These people who have arisen today, they were there. They were there underground doing their things in microaggressions and macroaggressions to us on the job, in the doctor's office, through the police, through social services, at the grocery store, at the bank, denying us loans and everything like that. These people were still there. They just got bold when 45 came up. Well, actually before that, but 45 just blew out the water.
Say it out loud? Okay, bet.
Right?
We're
saying it.
Right.
And we feel
doing the damn thing.
Too. So yeah, no, can't do it. So if you want to come down, Lou, if you come down, hit us up, hit us up. We'll hook you up with a realtor.
Yeah.
We got you.
So I'm going to, we got one more thing to talk about when it comes to mental health. And then we've got a ton of questions that have absolutely nothing to do with mental health, but about moving abroad. And we're going to do it for 10 minutes, y'all, because you guys you have opportunities to ask us general questions about moving abroad in other things. So, what's the name of the Brazilian restaurant? Someone, I don't know, but I can't remember. But we are going to start doing some restaurant reviews.
Ooh, yeah, same.
Especially for the out of the way, away from the tourist area ones. Pathway to wellness. How do the men feel about living outside the U.S. and what advice do you give the younger men who still don't see the value in living outside of the U.S.?
It was my idea to leave the U.S.
You have to get past the point of the way we have been culturally it's Stockholm syndrome. We don't get outside of our own environments, our own neighborhoods. We don't want to travel. Black men, in a lot of cases, when I was growing, they didn't have passports. They didn't want to travel out of this country and stuff like that. So to get them to move out of their environment is a change of a mindset, so that they can see other things besides what's in their neighborhoods.
Right.
Guys standing on the corner drinking a 40, or getting into some kind of trouble. There's
or stressed out on the corporate job.
Right. There are other things in this world that you can experience and be a part of that does not include being in the club or being in an environment. So it's getting out of those things that we need to.
Oh no. Are we stuck, y'all? Is it them or is it us? Let us know if we're frozen. I don't see. Uh-oh.
Can you hear us?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Hold on.
Frozen.
Let me put my hotspot on.
Let us know in the chat.
Hotspot.
We were having internet problems before. So I don't know. It's them. They are frozen. Okay. Because last week it was us having internet problems.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
We can hear you now.
We had to switch to our hotspot because it looks like we lost. It's back. Whew, power had gone out. Switch back.
Okay.
Come back. There we go.
Here we go.
Back up. The
power went out. They're still having some difficulty with regard to that explosion.
Yeah, they had the substation that was in our main city exploded, and they've been having trouble trying to
make sure everything.
Bring it back up.
From what we read, they said that they're using like spare parts or something like that.
Or they're still trying to get it back up and running for this area. So they were like, just bear with us. We're trying to get it back and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So y'all are still frozen, but we can hear you.
Okay.
Do you have anything more to say to men who maybe don't see the merits in moving abroad?
Well, for younger men, most of the time, or most of the ones that have ever been abroad have been in because of the service. And they spend a little time, but they were in a bubble too. Because when you're in the military, you're kind of in a bubble. So, some decided to stay because they got outside of that bubble and they said, okay, this is good. Yeah. I can do this, but then a lot of them went back. And like Lamar said, like you said, they get back into a routine of things. Right. They forget about what they kind of witnessed on the outside in the world, but their routine, their boys, hey, this is
comfortable.
What I'm comfortable with. And, I got me a job that, right. And it's like there's so much more, and we're working at it. We're trying to do things to get guys here.
Oh, we're on a mission. Yeah. And so for that person, I'm sorry I took your question off screen, but I would say have folks watch people like us, people like the Yarbros, right? They're younger and bebopping around, but there are a lot of younger couples and couples who are more mature.
Yeah.
And single people who are in both camps. And so I would say have them watch and see that there is a way out of the matrix.
I think for our son is 18 and he's that guy in this kind of age range. We wanted him to move here. And I said to him, literally, because we moved in before his senior year begun, just give me a year. I want to show you some things. I want to expose you. I want to broaden your horizon. I want to broaden your mind, because he very much thinking that this is how it is and this is how life is and this is how it's going to be and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't have to be. Let me show you some things. Right. And at the end of the year, when you graduate and it's time for you to go to college, if you don't want to stay here in Mexico, even though it's cheaper and you can get a lot more education and all that kind of stuff and for way less money and all that kind of stuff, even though You can do that. If you don't want to, I will drive you to the airport myself.
Speaking of education, before you go on, as far as getting an education and you want to go into the medical profession, you go into college and it's parallel. Your general studies and medicine at the same time. You don't do it one and then the other. And
So it's less time, less money.
it's less time, and you don't have to do internships. The internship is built into the education, so you start doing hands-on immediately.
Learning
Learning.
on the job,
Job.
like what learning as you're participating. But
Mhm.
listen, I said, listen, if you want to go back,
Yeah.
it's fine. And of course, he wanted to go back because I believe in his mind, he's got the mentality of, oh, I'm gonna be in the United States and I'm gonna be popping bottles and I'm gonna be, living the life and of some rapper and all that kind of thing. And all of this American dream is just going to come to me and it's going to be so easy and it's just going to be this, that, and the other. And I think that for a lot of our young men, they are still caught up in that matrix fantasy that this is how it can be. And I'm going to be able to make it. I'm gonna be able to, have my Range Rover and my Lexus, and I'm gonna be able to live in a penthouse, and they're not gonna treat me with my education. Of course, I'm gonna be able to get a job.
With that melanin in your skin,
right? Exactly.
You're gonna have the same problems, and it seems to be getting worse than it is better.
So we said to him, "That's fine. You can go, mommy. I'm gonna miss you." Shingle tear. But not that my food bill misses him, but when we said to him, just come back make sure you come back in 3 years when it's time to renew when your residency changes from temporary to permanent. That gives you options.
Thank you.
Have options.
And the only thing it cost him is a plane ticket
to come see your mom
for just a week. And then you can go back. Just put that card in your wallet.
But you have that in your back pocket that if things ever get rough there.
Right.
And all that.
And it's going to. And it's going to. It's
our oldest daughter lives here in Mexico City. She just moved into her very first adult apartment on her own. She's got 2 bedrooms in Mexico City, $400. You can't get that. As a single person by yourself in a metropolitan city, $400.
Not a cool city like CDMX. That's for doggone.
Not unheard of.
So M. Young asked, do you think that white America don't want Black people to succeed? I'm thinking about the Tulsa race massacre.
Oh, we know we don't.
I think people in privilege want to keep their privilege.
Right.
And they'll keep it at any means, by any means necessary.
Yeah. And I don't want to make broad statements, but here's the thing. The power brokers make sure that the white folks who are in the same economic class that we are, that they give them a carrot to make them turn against folks that they should naturally be allies with.
Right.
And that is by design.
And
so I'm not gonna say all white people are this or all white people are that. I'm gonna say the power brokers make sure that they divide and conquer those who have to work for a living because there's more of us than them. And if we band together, then all hell's gonna break loose. And so instead they'll say things like, you may be struggling and poor, but at least you're not Black.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the whole divide and conquer strategy. Absolutely. Okay. What other questions we got?
Let me look first on, let's see. May paradigm shift was from the belief that the USA was the best place in the world to be treated poorly. Mm-hmm. And it is. Now I have a new, better global perspective. That's right, Cassandra. That's right. Because once you leave and you see that you don't have to be treated inhumanely.
I could be treated well and not have to put up with that. Are you kidding me? No.
Okay. Now, everything else is about Queretaro or moving or this or that or the other.
Make sure you log in our channel and subscribe to our channel because we have a lot. I have a video that I'm recording about medical tourism, about getting my teeth done. Because I want to get I have another root canal that I need to do. And so I'm going to document that whole process of going to go get my tooth done. Because I'm going back to the same place that I went to because they did such a fantastic job.
That's a job. Yeah.
I don't want to take any chances.
So let me put this out there, this PSA. If people think that Mexico
Oh my
is
God,
some kind of poor rundown, that's a lot of baloney. It's bunk. There are people here that have old Mexico money, big money.
That Spain money.
Yeah.
And the technology here. So when you look around and say, okay, it's very colonial looking, but you go into a restaurant, handheld card readers, which you don't see a lot. You're just starting to see in the States. When they do payments for when they come and deliver gas, it's the same thing.
Not only that,
Yeah.
the health care that we have had here has been fantastic. Matter of fact, the doctor will give you their cell phone number.
And their WhatsApp,
call me,
or hit them up on WhatsApp.
If you have any questions, call me after our son had his nasal surgery. Called us to check in. How's he doing? Is he okay? Everything? I'm like, they will come to your house to do your gynecological exam. I mean, just things like that. You're like,
yes. Yeah.
The whole October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They had a special at one of our local hospitals, getting everything checked from the rooter to the tutor. And that whole process, was 800 pesos. 800 pesos is what? Was like
60
mammogram,
$70.
MRI of your nether regions, the whole checkup from the rooter to the tutor. I was like, are you kidding me?
Right.
This is how much for the cost of what I would pay for a copay. We're getting X-rays, medication, follow-up visits, all of that in state-of-the-art type of facilities.
I don't have a problem saying this. Ben's surgery, which was nasal surgery, took, I think, about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was $2,400. In the States, that would have cost us anywhere between 15 and 20, maybe $25,000.
Yeah, for Ben's that level of surgery that he had.
Surgery that he had.
Yeah.
So, and medication is inexpensive.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's certain things here you can get without a prescription.
Yeah.
It's inexpensive. The doctors are experienced, excellent doctors, skilled doctors, because of their education, the way they get their education, they start off doing it. So here in Queretaro, it's not the same. There's a lot of people here that they call chilangos that are from Mexico City that have moved here. And there's a lot of people moving from Mexico City to Queretaro because not only is it a growing, vibrant, modern city, but it's not as crowded.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're moving here. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of home building here. But the people are great. They are friendly. They're helpful.
Right.
I couldn't ask for a better place to be. Plus, I don't have to shovel snow anymore.
Oh, yeah, right. That level.
Yeah, that right there.
For those of you who are from the southern regions of the United States, you may not be able to relate, but let me tell you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But the weather is different here, and this.
Since you're talking about weather, let's just pull this up. This is the first and only time that I've heard someone characterize Queretaro temperatures as cool. In fact, the heat was spoken of so often I eliminated it from my consideration list.
Are they talking about Merida?
I was great to say, you sound like you're talking about Merida.
Merida is hell.
Yeah, now that is the devil's armpit. That is some next, and I like heat. Listen, I appreciate a good heat.
Right.
So
but
I'm not afraid to heat, but that heat right there in Merida.
Oh, you're talking 105 to 110 every day.
Yeah,
And
with that amount of humidity too.
It's horrible.
Next level hot.
Here right now, we're sitting in this house, the breeze coming into our home.
Right.
I'm actually kind of every once in a while I get a little bit of a chilly kind of feeling because it comes in.
Yeah.
And you get, but the
way our house is located in the hillside, we constantly get this nice breeze flowing through every level of the house. So
no air conditioning here.
Don't need it because it feels like they're air conditioned. When we moved here, before we moved here, when we just came to look at the place, and I was like checking the walls, do they have air conditioning? Because I feel a breeze flowing through this house. They were like, no, just open the window.
Right.
That's all you have to do here is open the window.
I think that someone may have told this young
Yeah, I think
lady.
you got it. They may have
it's
had it
Merida.
confused because there's no way you could say
No, it's
it's
not.
hot.
And I don't
As a
like
matter
it
of
hot.
fact,
I can't stand hot
Yeah.
like that.
No,
I
he
mean, I
doesn't.
couldn't even, if we came here and it was smoking hot, it would
Yeah,
be
he
like,
would have.
no, that's okay. We need to find someplace else.
As a matter of fact, last summer when the heat event was happening in the States we got it started, it was hot here too during the summer, certain part of June, I think it was,
Right.
or whatever, where it was really, really, really hot in the States, and it was hot here. Hot here was 85. And the people here in Queretaro was like, oh my God, it's
Right.
woo, it's so hot. I was like 85.
Maybe they were told that like 9:30, 10 o'clock during the day, the sun is, because we're at such a higher elevation that the sun is straight overhead.
That's true.
So when you walk outside,
You do feel the sun.
You
do
feel
that
the
sun.
but it's not the same as having sun and humidity.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you come in the house, temperature drops 15, 20 degrees.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
or in the shade.
Yeah,
or in the
so-
shade. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry that she was told that,
Yeah, no.
but you have to come here and experience it, because right now it's cooling off. You're getting into what would be fallish type of, even though they don't have fall.
Yeah, we don't have fall.
And then when you
but-
get towards December,
But in the evening now, again, we're in the higher elevation. We're in the mountains, so in the evening it does cool down. So
Right.
you would need
now, last week it
nice
got
little
down
jacket.
into the low to mid 40s at night, which was quite chilly without the
cold.
humidity. And
For
because,
me, but I
because
like it hot.
it's the poorest type of
Ground.
ground like Arizona, it releases the heat.
Yeah.
So it does not, it's not hot here at all.
What
Yeah,
cities
yeah, yeah.
did you scout before deciding on Querétaro? Okay, so see what
Thank
had
you, glass half full.
what had happened. Now I was down to move way before this guy was.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just full disclosure.
Yeah.
I had been shopping countries all over the place. I was in love with my first and foremost love is South Africa. I love South Africa. Could I get him to move to South Africa? He was like, a little too far on the other side of the hemisphere. I'd rather be on this side. I was like, okay, I'll take on this side of the hemisphere. That's cool. You know, my husband races RC cars, remote control cars. And I told him, find us a place that has a remote control car track.
Right.
So that you can be able to do your racing. Because when we were envisioning mental health, when we were envisioning a life without the stresses, being able to do our hobbies was very big on our list.
Yeah.
So having a place that had that. So some of the places were out. You know, some of the other places I would have loved to travel to or look at was out. The Dominican Republic was on my list for
But
a brief
actually,
minute.
the Dominican Republic has that.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that until we got here.
So does, and it's actually at the.
See, you wrong. You wrong, Lamar. You wrong.
It's actually at the.
You wrong.
They're actually having the.
Don't tell me about this.
10 scale war.
You about to have a fight on television. You about to have a fight on YouTube. So don't do that.
Yeah. But we looked at Mexico City, and there are 3 tracks in Mexico. But
Mexico City is a little too crowded. I didn't want all that. I wanted city, but not too much city.
And there's one in San Luis Potosí.
But we hadn't found out about that.
Right.
We found out about this little place called Queretaro,
and it actually has the largest.
Queretaro? What? How do you say that?
Yeah, how do you say that?
How do you say that?
Right.
So we looked at that. Medellin, Colombia was on our list for a while there. That type of thing. But ultimately we decided on Querétaro because it checked all of our boxes.
And it keeps us on this side. So if there's any family events, we can get to the United States fairly easily and
Except
quickly.
Valaris.
Except for Valaris, that
Airlines, that sucks. But you know, we won't go there. But we decided on Querétaro mainly because it has lots of colleges and universities.
Yes.
Lots of international corporations have moved and located their headquarters here.
Yep.
It has all the technology, modern technology that you would normally get. Fiber optic is, standard, of course, in terms of your internet connections. Being able to have high quality doctors and things of that nature, that was big on our list. We wanted to be able to enjoy going to the movies and all those kinds of things.
But at the same time, going out into the country to a winery or going to they had last year and they'll probably have it this year, a food.
Oh yeah, the food thing.
Yeah, it
that
was
they had.
they sampled all the restaurants in Queretaro.
We wanted culture. We're from
Culture.
DC. We wanted
Culture.
culture. We wanted museums. We wanted to be able to have that kind of experience. So
Mhm.
Querétaro really checked all the boxes for
Right.
us in terms of all the things on our
So
list.
so let me get this straight. But it started with the racetrack.
It started with the
The
race.
racetrack.
It
Yep.
started with, can I play with my toys?
Yes.
And these are
Which is hilarious, but folks, you have to envision the life that you really want, not what you think you can have, but
Hey, I
what
got
you
a toy.
want. Yeah, he got a toy too.
yeah.
Right. And literally we sat down and thought of, when we get to retirement,
Mhm.
what do I want my day to look like? Imagine, let's literally plot that day out.
Let's put the theme of this conversation, mental health.
Mental health.
And when I'm working on my cars, because I build, I paint, I put them together, I tune the engines, my blood pressure goes.
Right. My craft room
Like
is my
this.
happy space.
Yeah.
That's my happy area. That's where I can go. I can be creative. I can do my thing. I can make and all kinds of things in my craft room. So having those two spaces was big on our list in terms of, what do I want my day to look like? How do I want to feel? And so that was really the largest consideration when we were looking at relocating and moving to another country. How do I want to feel? Do I want to get up every morning and feel stressed out? Do I want to get up every morning and feel like I'm running on this rat race or this
Right.
hamster wheel?
Exactly.
I don't want to feel like that anymore. So it was literally setting that vision and then finding something that worked to make that vision happen. Ever since then, it has been beautiful. Now, I will say, for me, we saved up enough money to have for a year sabbatical. That was the original plan, to take a year.
Right.
Someone asked, what do you guys do for a living? So you might as well
Right.
just throw that in with your sabbatical talk.
Exactly. We
Right.
both have IT, come from the IT field. I can teach. I have a doctorate in ministry, so I come from that realm as well. So we needed to have a year's. We gave ourselves a year to say, all right, let's take a break, because the last couple of years have been extremely stressful for us,
Right.
extremely traumatic
Yes.
for us, or what have you. So we were able to take that sabbatical, badly needed sabbatical. Now, what I will say that I didn't expect, he was able to get into the sabbatical mode much faster than I was. It took me 8 or 9 months to get to the place where I could just stop being so and try to just take a nap. You're tired, go take a nap. Okay, but shouldn't I be doing something? I'm supposed to be doing something. Don't I have some bills to pay, or something to write, or I got an email to respond to. It really took me a long time for me to get to a place where I could just go, and exhale. This guy, he was into it like the next day.
2 days.
He
I'm
was
good. So Renee asked, how long did it take for you to recognize the trauma and then to work on releasing it? Did you need therapy? I already realized I was traumatized because my hair was falling out and I could not eat.
Wow. Yeah.
I couldn't sit still. I was nervous all the time. I was agitated most of the time. I did not, and it got to a point where I did not want to drive to work.
Right.
I did not want to go there. I couldn't. I lost all motivation to do anything with regard to work. And I love IT.
Yeah.
I've always built things with my hands. I love working on things. I tell us all the time, my uncle, who is still living, called me a tinkerer. I would take things apart, put them back together. So, I mean, even the Ethernet in this house, I ran it with my wife and did all that kind of stuff. But I was like, I don't even want to see this anymore, because it was go. Grind. And it was just.
Was Adam at your last job?
No,
okay, that was a job of Sourco.
He was at Booz Allen in Hamilton, and he was the worst
Yeah,
manager.
we said it.
worst manager ever.
Booze.
Ever.
Aren't they headhunters?
They are
No,
a government contracting
contractor.
shiesty firm. I said it.
Yes.
I said it.
This is the same firm that
Edward Snowden came from.
Edward Snowden came, but they also do things after they went public because they were private from day one until, and they're not going to go in, but they went public, and then their whole culture and mindset changed. It was all about money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the
That's
people.
what happens.
Yeah.
It went totally into the greed mode, and it was horrible.
Right.
When they laid people off, it was in order to say on paper, I've got X amount of millions of dollars, so I can go purchase another little small technology company to pull into our fold to enrich ourselves.
No concern or care for the workers that have been faithfully giving up their weekends and not going to child's recitals and things of that nature.
Fact, they were the directors were getting to a
boardroom. Still a little traumatized.
Not bitter.
Just a little traumatized still. I'm seeing some triggering.
The boardroom, they would sit in boardrooms and argue about, Jim, I got rid of 4 people last time. It's your turn to and they were terminating people not because they were terrible employees, but just because of numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were getting rid of people. And they were getting rid of people. And then they would say, you don't have to turn in your laptop right away. You can work for the next month with us and looking for a job internally. But they were terminating so many people that the HR recruiters were overwhelmed, and there was no way that they were going to be able
and that's what pure capitalism looks like. That's just what it looks like. And so did anyone need therapy? Renee, I think everyone needs therapy.
Yes.
Every human being on this earth needs therapy because another human being raised you.
Therapy in the Black community.
Yes.
Normalize therapy for mental health. I'm absolutely a 100%.
Yeah. And you don't have to wait until your hair is falling out and you can't eat, right? Like this is something that we should all be doing on a regular basis, just like you go get checkups and everything like that. But you see, the fact that we still get so not emotional, but energized in a bit of a negative way about some of these past things will let you know that, we didn't become these people overnight, right? This is 50 years. Or 30 to 40 years of adulthood, right? Because sometimes you're a little insulated as kids, a bit insulated. And it's not going to be undone overnight.
No.
But one thing that I can say is that, I was like you, Angela, is like, I felt like I had to earn a nap.
Right.
Like, oh, I've done this. Right. And what you doing, Halisi? Are you retired? The Action VJ said, Halisi and Rick are the most retired people I know. And I get bored easily. So the notion of just sitting on a beach, drinking Mai Tais or whatever, sounds good when you're working 70 hours a week.
Right.
But once you have basically no schedule except for to go live on Sundays and every other Thursday.
But you can anytime you want.
Exactly.
If you want.
So
you guys are also empty nesters. I aspire to be.
Yes, they still have a child in the home who is not yet college age.
Yes,
I want to talk about culture and values because I think this is the last piece, and then we'll answer a few more of these specific questions. Alberto, send me an email. If you have questions about Portugal, send an email to hello@ourblackutopia.com and I will send you an answer. But we'll answer the Angela Lamar questions. But culture and values says it's important for people to connect with others that share your culture and values and to be understood at a deeper level. Otherwise, feelings of isolation and depression can arise.
That's true.
We have a group of people here that know us better, seek us out to hang out on a regular, even though some of those people are still working remotely.
Right.
Right. And we have family here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was from day one, because the other, we're now getting some Portuguese friends and stuff like that, and friends who are not Black Americans.
Mhm.
Actually, we did from day one. Truth be told, actually, as I think about it, like Rossini, right? Like, but who's Brazilian? We've got British friends and stuff like that. But you got to speak English because our Portuguese sucks.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. I speak Portugal, but I think there is a certain personality, there's a mindset shift that happens once you decide to get out of the matrix, to move abroad, to get away from the country that is oppressing you.
Yes.
And so we say all the time, where were y'all when we were in the United States?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Where were y'all? We needed like-minded people like you to hang
Mhm.
out with, to give hugs to, because all of this, and to laugh with. I mean, we spent a whole day laughing,
Just
talking smack, laughing some more, and
Fun.
just being happy in the moment.
Right.
And this is what you need
Yes.
to live longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
You talk about live longer. That was one of the things I did not like seeing at DISA, was looking at their homepage. You bring up your computer and it, automatically when you go in the browser, and then always off to the right there was some
Somebody who
memorial
had dropped dead
who had dropped dead
at work.
at work or during the time, and they're young. I remember saying, I tell you, this guy came in all the time. He always had these Hawaiian type shirts on. What an old dude. And then one day I'm looking, I said, wait, that's. They said, yeah, he died last week. What? And he was not even 50.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, I can't. It's not. I can't do that. I
Yeah.
need to live life. I need to
Mm.
be out here and enjoy myself, because yeah, it could happen any day. I mean, we just had a young family member, just die suddenly.
Yeah. 35.
And so I'm not going out like that.
That was the other
No.
thing. In terms of mental health, I really wanted to. Life is short.
Yes.
Thank
Life
you.
is so short, and it's too short to suck. You know what I mean? And to think that you're going to be able to retire and one day be able to enjoy life, I don't know if I even have that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I get to be 60, 68 or 67 or what have you, am I working in those jobs? Am I going to have the health to be able to enjoy going to the beach? Or am I going to be in a walker, in a cane, and with the whole bag of medications and prescriptions that I need to take just to be able to get up in the morning? Don't waste the pretty. Go for it. If you can go for it. So that would be my advice to young marrieds considering moving. Talk about it. Decide what you need. Now, granted, I will say this much. For us doing this with our kids when the kids were smaller and both our parents were still alive at that time,
Right.
probably would not have made me feel like I wanted to,
and
to
the
go for
reason is that I'm the only one that's married out of my
Right.
siblings. I'm the only one that has children. And
Right.
my mother adored
and I adored
her
her.
grandchildren and my wife, and so
And she waited so long to get them grandbabies, and when
Right.
she got them, she was such a fan. I would have never, unless we took her with us.
Yes.
I was about to say that was an option.
Yes.
Yeah, I would have took her with us.
But again, you talk about medications. My
Yeah,
mother
sure.
had scleroderma. She had high blood pressure, pulmonary hypertension, lupus, and scleroderma.
Yeah, you said
Scleroderma.
Yeah.
And she had a really bad knee. So she was taking 15, 20 pills a day.
My dad had had a rare form of Parkinson's disease, died from a rare form of Parkinson's, cortical basal degeneration. My mother had Parkinson's. So, and your dad.
And we will never know, had moving out of the United States when
Right.
your babies were babies, if that might have changed the trajectory of their health, right?
We won't know that.
Uh,
We won't know
you know, and the bottom line is it's the food that we eat in the United States is poison. They don't even allow half that crap in the
Oh
food
yeah.
here.
Very true.
Oh yeah.
Very
Because
true.
because
Really
even
didn't.
Cheetos here are not the same color because they don't
The-
allow red dye
all that,
number.
yeah,
whatever they-
here too. Here
Yeah,
too.
same here.
And they don't have as much salt. Did you buy homes abroad? No.
Yeah.
Do you have
We
a
are-
permanent
we are
residency?
currently renting our home. We do have the option to buy this house. We're trying to decide if we want to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Do we have
Um,
permanent residency? No, we have temporary residency. We're working on year 2 of our.
No,
Well,
this is
we're going into year two,
and first year of our
but you get up to 4.
4.
At the end of the 4th year, if you decide that you want to stay here, you can convert your temporary residency into permanent
resident.
residency.
It's almost automatic.
And you don't need to show any additional paperwork or
Work.
do anything, any proof to do anything like
Right.
that. That's
so
here
we
in
have
Mexico.
permanent residency in Mexico and temporary residency in Portugal. And no, we did not buy a home, and will not be until these people stop smoking drugs.
I know
Yeah,
that's right.
they gotta figure this stuff out over there.
Because they had so many foreign investors and they have so many people moving here that don't know any better and will overpay for a house and then don't get a mortgage, because if you get a mortgage here and then the immigrants stop coming, you won't be able to rent it to the Portuguese. They can't afford that.
Right,
The
right.
same things
Right.
happen in
So we have to wait until we can find a place. First of all, we're saving to buy a building, but find a place that makes sense that we could actually rent to Portuguese people with the amount of money that they're making. Any advice for young marrieds considering moving? Yeah. Find a 100% remote job, save 35 to 65% of your income,
Mhm.
have a nice, healthy emergency fund, and
Right.
get the heck out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get out.
That's it. Okay, what else we got?
Do you look at what you brought down to Mexico and say, wow?
No,
Nope, not at all.
because in order to get on the shipping container, we had 3 criteria. It had to be the best of the best, right? It had to be the best of the best. It had to be something that, sorry, I'm eating a mint. It had to be the best of the best, or it had to be something irreplaceable.
Right.
Like the letters from my late mother that she wrote me in college. The letters of encouragement. I'm not throwing that away. Hell no.
Right.
And then the third thing, I always forget what the third thing was. Best of the best.
Things and things that made us happy.
Oh.
So here's the thing. So folk out there understand. We didn't bring a bunch of furniture.
Correct.
We did not. What we brought was things that I couldn't replace and she couldn't replace. Things
Right.
that have been, as she gave the word, curated.
Right.
So I have things for my hobby. I started doing racing and building RC cars in 1998. So it's been 25 years. A lot of the tools I cannot replace, may not be manufactured anymore,
Right.
so I can't get them anymore. And it does make me happy. I enjoy it. So no, there's nothing out of that I regret.
No, we got rid of a lot of stuff before we came. My clothes, I'm 6 feet tall.
Right.
I
wear a size 13 shoe.
Have y'all seen the Mexicans?
You
Have you seen these short Mexicans? I ain't gonna find no clothes. I'm being naked in
it's not
these
even
streets.
So
unless I bring my clothes.
Even the broomsticks are short here.
Exactly.
It's like we gotta bend over to sweep.
Funny.
Yes, it hurts my back sometimes because you can't stand up straight. You have to bend over to sweep.
Yes, right.
As a short person, these are things that I don't think about.
You don't think about it. Yeah.
I just don't think about it. I do. I have some tall friends. There are tall people here.
Yeah.
But they're
Not many
younger.
people here, but we've seen a few on occasion, and they look at us like, wow. But we brought our things with us. No regrets. Absolutely.
And we have no regrets. Heck, I didn't even bring we've still got two homes in the United States. And so all of our stuff now is in the shed in our home in Denver, except for the things that are confidential that we don't want anybody to get a hold of, you know.
Right.
But I haven't even brought my my photo albums yet.
Oh wow. Wow. Yeah,
So
we bought family mementos. We bought our art, all of our art. So
Right.
I collect African masks. And so I bought my mask. So when we literally, when our shipping container, we had a half a container. When the shipping container arrived, it was like Christmas.
Yeah.
It was open like, oh, wow. Oh, look at this. Oh, I love this thing. You know,
Right.
it was full of the things that we love. So that when we set up house, our house is full of items that we cherish, items that we love and
Right.
adore. And so when we walk in the house, mental health, it brings a certain amount of joy to your space. When you walk in, and the very first thing is using that Marie Kondo kind of philosophy, does it spark joy?
Look at that picture that my dad is staring at me all the time.
Stop it.
There's a
so
picture.
it's
Dad he took the picture like this, and it follows when you walk through the room. He
It
looks like
does not.
so it's interesting because in the periodical it said positive associations in the environment, such as family keepsakes, photos, familiar objects, can boost your mood and create a sense of connection.
It does. It does. And it made our home immediately feel like home.
Yes.
You would look at the pictures on the wall or the, you know, the little things that we brought that really have sentimental value, have meaning to us or what have you. And we're placing it in places of honor on the wall and things like that. And you can look at it. I brought I have a library of books. I love my books. It would have hurt to get rid of my books. Look, physically hurt to get rid of those books, because some of the books that I absolutely love will go back to all the time and use. I bought the books for my dissertation, all of that. I bought it all. I bought not all.
I threw all of my master's stuff away. I threw it away. And the only books I kept were the ones that were signed.
I kept
and
my
Harry Potter.
And the books that I just enjoy. Now we gave away a lot of books, but I kept the books that I really just enjoy.
Right. Can you share info on the dental company and hotel?
Oh, should we share that, or should we put that in our video that's coming out next week?
Put it in the video.
But listen, they were fantastic, and they were in Cancun. I don't want to call out the wrong name. I don't want to mess it up.
So go over to Lamar and Angela's channel and send them a message there.
But they were fantastic, and I will be going back again because, and as a matter of fact, I would have already been back, but we had a death in the family, like I mentioned, and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to have that taken care of because I need to. I want to put you on and give you the hookup.
Yeah. So Alberto, go ahead and send us an email, okay, baby. So BP, Auntie Trey, I think I must have already gotten Auntie Trey's.
And Queretaro, what was a typical day in the life?
Get up, make coffee, have breakfast.
No, it used to be get up, go walk to the bakery.
Yeah, we no longer live in that neighborhood. We walk to the bakery
Walk to the
bakery.
Panderia.
The pastries here are different. They don't use as much sugar.
True.
They're not as sweet.
Not true.
And when I talked to Lenny, it's the French influence that it's why the bakery and the breads and the pastries here are so much like French pastries. True. Because it's the French influence, and that's why bread and things like that are so big here in Mexico.
But now I noticed that the things in the United States are so overly sweet. It just, and I never thought I would. I've heard people say that,
right?
But I didn't realize that until I had again spent a significant amount of time out of the country, and then came back and ate something and was like, it's so sweet. It's too sweet. It's like, wow. I remember I went and got a lemonade from Chick-fil-A, and I used to Chick-fil-A lemonade.
But it's sweet.
It's really sweet. It's really sweet. Like,
Chick-fil-A's lemonade is
I was like,
very
oh
sweet.
my.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing here, except for pastiche de nata is very
Oh,
sweet.
Oh yeah,
okay.
That's very sweet. But the breads and things like that, Cassandra, help
Did you ask
protect
about
the
Mexico?
United States Postal Service. Help
That-
protect the United States Postal Service. Y'all vote because
That's
they
cool.
privatized it here. And my Portuguese friend basically said, and he ain't got a letter since.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. It's not so.
So you have estafeta here, which
But I wouldn't count
but
on it.
the actual letter carriers, they ride up on a motorcycle, and here, because they can't come up onto property, they will take a letter
Literally.
and flick it like a frisbee into your
Into
yard.
the yard at the door
Right.
and drive off. I
Drive
was
off.
like, I watched him do it, and I've watched him do it a couple times. It was
Yeah.
like, you just, because then the house doesn't have a mailbox
Right.
or what have you. So they just take it, he scans it to prove that he delivered it, and then just tosses it into the yard and drives off. I was like,
And what if the sprinklers come on?
exactly. Or the wind blows.
Right.
Oh my God.
So here, there's mostly apartments. There's some single family like brownstone time homes, and then down in the suburbs, of course, you get the traditional what North Americans think of as a single family home. But in the city, it's mostly apartments, and the majority of them have the mailboxes inside the door to the building. So, do they have master keys like they would in the United States? Oh, no,
Yeah.
they do not. So they sit out there and buzz every single one
until somebody lets them in. The
until
building.
someone lets them in. What if
Wow.
nobody
My daughter's
happens to be home?
My daughter's building has a mail slot, one mail slot for all the apartments in the whole.
So they got to sort through the mail to see what's there. So
Yes.
Yes.
So you have to check the slot to see if you have anything, look through the mail to see if any of these are yours. And then,
Right.
yeah. But other than that, Amazon, getting UPS,
delivers here,
DHL.
DHL, FedEx delivers here. So I mean,
That's been great.
That's works out just fine. It's just the actual local mail service that's kind of sketchy sometimes.
Right. Auntie Lou, we got you. Send us a link and I will hook you up with a fabulous realtor. I'll give you our very best recommendation.
Yes.
Somebody who's going to take good care of you.
Yes.
We got you. We got you. All right.
Okay, so we did so they ain't working right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, I am about to get back into the groove, but we now, like I said, like I mentioned, we had budgeted for a year. Now, because prices are lower and things of that nature, and we moved from a house that was in a
Double gated
luxury type home community that they would probably consider a luxury home. Well,
Right.
no, it wasn't a luxury
Yeah,
home.
it was luxury.
We moved to another luxury home, but it was cheaper.
So give you an idea, we just got our first electric bill.
Oh, right, true.
It was $3.50 for 2 months.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
wow.
It ain't like that in Lisbon, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the States, but it ain't like that.
Yeah.
You're going to pay 50 or 60 bucks.
Spread out, we've been able to, spread out our time a little longer because we can make that dollar stretch a little, make the dollar do what it wants to do.
Right.
Now, as long as these Republicans get another Congress or get their acts together and don't let the dollar or don't let the budget slip. So we won't have another drop.
Because Moody's just downgraded the dollar again.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. And so every time that happens, even in the United States, you feel it. You just don't know you feel it, but you feel it because of all of the imports, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So BP, they did a whole series
Whole video.
about driving down. But if you can sum it up in 30 seconds, what would you tell her?
Good.
It wasn't as stressful as you thought it was going to be.
No.
No, it didn't. It
No.
wasn't stressful. We got some sites in.
Yeah.
It took us
We didn't get stopped or pulled over. There wasn't any police interaction.
Right.
We had mapped out our route from Maryland to Mexico the whole way. We stopped on the way. So we drove from Maryland to Tennessee and stopped for the night. Drove from Tennessee to New Orleans. Our oldest daughter, was doing a house sit in New Orleans. So we stayed in the French Quarter with her for a night. And then we drove from the original plan was for us to drive from New Orleans to Houston, but Lamar got on his good foot that day. We got up early that morning. He got on his good foot. We made it all the way to the border.
Yeah.
So we stopped at the border, stayed overnight, got up that morning. We were like, all right, come on, let's go. Let's get this, did our stretches, all that kind of stuff, ready for the battle at the border. And there was none. And so we thought, oh, well, shoot, let's see if we can make it to Queretaro.
We made it all the way to San Luis Potosí.
We stopped in San Luis Potosí because we were like, okay, it's starting to get dark. We don't want to drive at night because we drove only during the daytime because these Mexican roads, or just in these United States roads, were awful from time to time, and we didn't want to tear Nellie up. Nellie is our van, so we made sure to stop and make sure we didn't have a lot of, too much time driving and all that kind of stuff. So it took us 4 days.
4 days.
4 days to drive, and as soon as we got to Mexico, we drove to Querétaro to the airport, parked the car, got out our carry-on bags, and we went to Cancun.
Yeah, sure did.
We had a party. The Black women had a party in Cancun year before last, y'all.
Yes,
and that's when I finally met Angela in person. We've been chatting, in the Exodus Summit crew chat rooms.
We were in the same Airbnb and didn't know it, and we were on the floor above.
Right
above.
Right above.
And I came down. I don't know if it was me. I came downstairs. Y'all recognized me or whatever. Came downstairs because I was like, "This is this lady that knows you."
Same here, because he was like, "Yeah, I wonder if Angela's here because blah blah blah." She said she's so pretty and she's tall, and I was like, "I think they're staying above us."
You can't miss me. You can't.
And she said, she just passed and sitting by the pool. So I'm sneaking. I'm looking out the window. I'm like, that's her. That's her.
So we're going to have so much fun in South Africa.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I cannot wait.
Yes.
So Barney, go ahead and go over to Lamar and Angela.
Yep.
Message them up, and they will hook you up with their realtor.
We find our place in Mexico. I will briefly tell you, we have been working on this video. We have had some challenges, family issues with deaths in our family. We've had a lot of death in our family.
As you get older, it's going to happen more frequently than you would like to expect, or it's been rough.
Indeed. So think about that also when you're planning your move abroad, that you may have deaths in the family, events that happen for family, weddings, proposals, engagements, babies, all that kind of stuff, that living abroad, you may not be able to experience. And you got to be ready to actually, confront those.
Reconcile yourself with that.
Right.
Yeah. And so we lived away from our extended family. We lived in a whole different state. So we were already used to missing a lot of those events. I mean, we'd fly for some weddings with enough notice.
Right.
But, but the smaller things like the baby showers and the this and the that, and even maybe the bachelor parties and the this and that, we might miss those things.
And you got to know how you are. If that really is going to mean something to you, then you either move to a place where you can pop back very easily.
And plan your financials accordingly.
Right.
Or you reconcile yourself to the fact that you're going to miss some stuff and you're going to not be a part of those things. So
yes. So for those of you who got our Move Abroad Toolkit, information is below. We have a budget template that you think about all of those things, the unplanned events like a death in the family, a transition in the family, as well as the things that you could probably say is going to happen. If you want to be at so-and-so's graduation, or that someone is about to get married or just got married, probably going to be having a kid. If you want to be there, then budget it in. And so the Move Abroad Toolkit ask those questions and gives you a template to budget all of that out. And so I'm going to leave it with this. Even with, now here's the thing about moving to another country, y'all. It's like becoming an infant.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about this a lot. You have to relearn how to, okay, do they do Celsius down there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so there's that. You can't just look and see what the temperature is and know right away, have some context with that until you
Until
get
it
to
gets
know
to go,
which numbers are about at what level Fahrenheit if you're
baking
American, right?
instructions, buying a
Baking
box
instructions, yes.
mix.
Right.
The baking instructions are going to be in Celsius. They're going to be in a foreign language.
Cooking with
Even the dates. Here
Oh,
is the
hey,
day, the
yes.
month. No, what is it? United States is
Day,
the day, the month,
month,
the year.
year.
right.
Here is the month.
No, it's
No,
the
it's
opposite.
opposite. It's the date,
Yeah.
the month, the year.
Day of
Yeah.
year.
Cooking with propane. Propane burns hotter, so it's a different cooking. But I prefer cooking with gas. But starting a
And
Yes.
here is very, very energy efficient. They have a lot of, they cook with a lot of hot air more than the burners. They have induction stoves. I've burnt up so much food. It took me 7 tries to get money out of the ATM. He's having problems logging into the doctor's website so he can get all of his information, and the password don't work, and then the this and the that. And with all of those little inconveniences,
Still,
do you still feel like you are mentally healthier than you were before?
absolutely.
For sure. For sure.
100%.
For sure.
I am in such, as a matter of fact, it's to the point that when stress comes, that now it's like, oh my God. I think we have been conditioned to be able to deal with stress in such a way that it's constant. It's constant. Now it's not that often. So when it comes, it's like, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit shocking to the system because usually the days are like, if the biggest thing I have to worry about is that when I hold my phone up to the ATM, the Google Translate is like not working right.
Right.
If that's my biggest concern.
Or my biggest concern is the debit card going to get hung up at wherever I'm using it because it's suspecting fraud and going to kind of reject. I gotta, no, it's not fraud. No. Ring it up again. That's usually
Right.
the big
The
thing.
extent, like today we before the live, we took a walk all the way down to the river. And this is not a stream, y'all. This is a river that big cruise ships come down. So
Wow.
that's how big it is. So
Right.
it's gorgeous. And the sun, because the time change, the sun was just right there and the reflection on the river. Most of the tourists aren't there.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
It was so nice.
Yeah.
I know. We were laying, our bedroom has a balcony that overlooks the mountains. And I can literally lay in bed in that. And that particular morning, we had the blinds or the sliding glass door. What is that called?
The blinds.
Is it called? I'm thinking of the Spanish word. Wow, that's crazy. But anyway, the blinds were up and I was just laying in bed and the sun was coming up over the mountains and it was the clouds, it wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was just so beautiful. I was just laying there. I had to go get my phone. I was like, I need to take a picture of this because this is just,
yes.
this is just, wow. I can't believe this is my life right now. I literally cannot believe this is my life.
I have to pinch myself sometimes. And I still say, we've been here since August, because that's when we started paying rent in this apartment, August 2022.
Right.
But we started this exit June 2022. And I remember being here and one of our first friends, who is now family, she was sitting there and she's like, we live here now. And I'm thinking, we don't live here now because we still got to go back and go to immigration and do this and do that. But I was like, yeah, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, we're living now.
But when we came back with all of our stuff after
Right.
we had gotten our visa approved, then I started saying, and I still say it, like we'll see a new area or this or that, or it'll just be a beautiful morning and the kids and the babies are playing in the park, and I'm like, we live in Portugal, y'all.
Right, right,
I mean,
right,
it's just it is something that I never thought could happen,
right.
and I have never been this at peace.
True.
And that's
Very-
where we will leave it. That's where we will leave it. So, because we've been talking for almost 3 hours,
Oh, wow.
and we're sure that you probably still have more questions. So, if you have more questions about Queretaro or about Mexico in general, please check out Lamar and Angela. That's the name of their channel, at Lamar and Angela, and you will find them. If
We
you
are-
have questions about Portugal,
Let's do our first of the month.
Right.
It's the first of the month. We didn't get a chance to do our first of the month this month, but we were thinking of doing a half of the month
Yeah.
and being able to answer. So we will all open that up to answer all of these questions. We will go through the comments and answer all of your questions that you may have had.
oh, yay, yay.
Awesome.
So they go live usually the first of the month, first Wednesday of the
First
month,
of
right?
the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just the first day of the month.
It's the first of every
Where-
month.
Okay, well, no matter what day it is. Okay,
Whatever
so
day that
first,
is.
first day of the month, but they're going to do something in between. So make sure that you check them out, put on the alerts, subscribe so that you can get that information. If you have more questions and you want to talk to us personally, you can book a call with us. Please, if you are trying to get your money straight, get our Ready to Retire Toolkit. After you go through that, you think you still need more help, we've got Beyond the Bling, Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence. And that will walk you through everything from expenses to your savings rate, to where you can live, to investing in the stock market, investing in real estate, getting a side hustle. You will have your plan to get financially free. Once you are financially free, even if you want to continue to work, look, that's going to release some stress right there, because the atoms of the world, you can say to them, yeah, so let's let yesterday be my last day.
Right.
Peace out. Deuces, right?
Yep.
Right? So with that, we love y'all and we will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.